Hey now kids, come gather round. See what just skipped into town. So skip it. Do run, do jump, do hop, hop. Skip it. Skipping and a screaming and a bop to bop. Come on everybody, skip it.
He broke it already. He broke it. Oh, he's dancing again.
I hope he didn't break a skip it.
Skip it. Anthony likes to freaking much fame. Skip it.
He fucked up his microwave too.
How did he fuck up the skip it? He didn't broke the shit.
Did he just put Frosted Flakes in his place?
Cause he be flaking. He's a frosted flake.
No, actually, you know what he's doing? He's going to get the sugar on it because he's one of those type of people that puts sugar on Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, he's pretty redundant, pretty stupid. How you doing, Ganja?
I'm doing fine, man. I just, I had a cold for the past couple of days, so
Oh,
kind of
really?
been fighting that shit.
Oh,
Yeah, it sucks.
that sucks.
Moco's coming out the nose.
Mongol's-
Feeling like I've
you're
been getting my ass
lying
kicked.
as fuck.
Sink!
Hey, I wonder why he didn't tell us about this bit. I don't know.
He likes surprises, but he forgets when we're surprised. We don't know how to fucking react.
I was just,
Why did you? Why?
I was just really curious to see if I could improv that shit. Like, we gotta work on improv, right? We gotta work on our improv as we get better
All
at
right.
shows.
Improv
and
usually
continue.
gives you a topic. You just gave me a box of cereal and said, "Work."
Hey man, comedy, Ganja, comedy. You don't know what you're gonna expect. You gotta be always.
Is that
on
little
your
sister
feet.
face you're doing? Like,
You gotta be
come
always.
Work him out like his little sister.
You gotta always.
You're gonna
be
wake
on
up with your face super
Always,
glued to your hand
always
tonight.
on your feet. Always. Like, you
I
just
feel like
gotta be
Anthony
ready for
watched
that
something
shit.
that made him want to do this. He just watched some kind of improv video or some kind of documentary, and he's like, "Dude, I want to be one of those guys." Box of cereal. Plop, just-
Yeah, and like Marcus Kilgore said in the chat, the MCA is brought to you by diabetes. But people, welcome to the Saturday, the real Saturday show, as Eddie Hendricks likes to say. But I don't want to get shot by Goodwin and Gertz, so we're the secondary Saturday.
Well, wait,
show.
you're just saying because he's a black guy, he would shoot you?
Yeah,
And Gertz is
yeah, he
racist,
could,
would
like,
shoot you?
he would shoot me,
really-
and then
it's fucked up.
Gertz, since he's Caucasian, he would take away my taxes. But people, welcome to the MCA. Welcome to the midnight chat attack. We're gonna chill, relax, kick up our feet. People, I posted on Facebook those community questions. I was seeing if you guys got that, so we got that all lined up tonight and stuff like that. We want to get you guys opinions on certain things, but the biggest thing,
Can't think about improv. That motherfucker got lost.
I was like, oh shit, where's the script? No, but the big thing. Ganja, tell them about that movie night. Tell them about that thing that's going down tonight.
Oh.
Tonight, I know Alan ain't here, but he'll be here later throughout the show, and he will be here for the after-hour viewing party that we're going to be having going on tonight. Tonight is going to be action movies. Wow! Speak
Holy
of the devil,
shit, Alan is
Alan's
getting
here.
Man, what if I saw the signal in the sky?
Yeah, goddamn.
Great job. Hey, Birdman, real quick, I just got started on telling them about the viewing party, so if you want to tell them real quick.
Yeah. Today we're doing foreign action movie night. So last on the midweek, we did a poll, and you guys want to see The Ray Redemption. That's all ready. We're going to post the rabbit link as soon as the show finishes. We're putting a second poll just to kind of get what sort of order you guys want. So it's going to be Killzone 2, Ip Man 1 and 2. So vote on that to know which of these movies you want to see next. And that's what we're going to be doing right after the show.
Yeah, so these
And
two
same
right here-
rules apply like every other night, guys. You know, keep the talking to a minimum and keep it about the films itself. We don't mind a few talking, a few jokes, because that's what the after hours is for, you know, for us to hang out and appreciate a good movie. Especially that's action movie night. We know you guys are going to enjoy talking shit and making crack jokes about it. So just keep it to a minimum and keep in mind some people are actually trying to watch the film. Especially, Birdman, if I'm not correct, some of these are subtitled, right?
All of these are going to be subtitled because they're
All right,
all
so-
speaking different languages. So.
All right, so there's going to be some leeway with it being titled, but just keep it in mind.
Okay.
Exactly. And we are posting the second poll. Like I said, the Redemption is actually going to be the first movie, and then based on what you guys vote on the polls, is going to be the second movie. So make sure you guys vote on that second poll so you can actually see what's going down tonight. And aside from that, just a quick congratulations to somebody in particular in the Double Toasted community. I know certain people don't give a shit, but I personally do. Congratulations, Eric. Congratulations on the baby. That's nice. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that
I
went
can't
well.
wait for him to lose that baby fat.
Yeah, and with that being said, Nick, tell them about that YouTube channel, sweetie.
Okay.
You just skate past.
Just kill him.
I just stabbed Nick with that joke like a motherfucker right now.
You just go.
I knew you were going to say something. That's why I put that particular picture up.
That's why I was trying to get through it really quickly because I was just like, let me say something before I just said fucked up. Let me finish.
Anthony saw my mind starting to work with the joke. He's like, no, fuck.
No. I was like, I had my foot on the gas. I was like, fuck.
No, but people know it's the YouTube channel, which, by the way, what's up with the logo? I don't know why that came up. We're going to use it for
I
something
don't
else.
know. Yeah, that's what I was like. Why is that there? That was
Yeah,
really weird.
it's strange, man. But no, people, yeah, you guys know what this is. The Midnight Chat Attack YouTube page and everything. We're not, as official as Double Toast or anything. It's just people coming on. I mean, we're community themed, so we want you guys to come on and bring topics that you want to talk about, as well as get your opinions on the topics that we bring up. I mean, that's why we actually have the show, done ahead of time, etc. Is so we have a bunch of things that we can discuss and get our opinions on. But yeah, bring your ass in here. It's fun. It's awesome. And the Midweek Chat Attack is way better than this show. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, and people, just a quick side note, since we are talking about the YouTube channel, I also posted that this week. I was asking for people's YouTube channels if they do something, stuff like that, which I should have clarified too. Like, if you don't put nothing in, like, on your YouTube channel, like in the last year or something, yeah, I'm not putting that shit up there. I'm only promoting people that actually make consistent content. Like, I can't promote somebody like that. So
Exactly.
I did that on the side, put some more YouTube channels on the side. So if you guys are curious to see the other Toasties in the Double Toasted community that do YouTube channel type stuff, go to the sidebar and you can actually see those right there. But actually, forget all that shit. Forget all of it.
Okay, well, don't flip
I
the
want
fuck
you to
out
look-
now. I mean, you're
I
over
want
here
you to
losing your
look-
fucking mind and everything. I want you to be flipping out, all right?
I can't flip out because I got to tell people how to get inside the car. Then I will flip out. But look on the left side of your screen, people. You're going to see like this little oval shape, this little box shape. It's going to be like rounded corners. It's going to be blinking red and yellow, red and yellow. You click it. It opens up. You see a Google Hangouts link. You click that link and you hop inside the car in a very frosted manner.
You are
Ooh.
pushing that shit. Did you get your dental work done by the fucking Tony the Tiger or something? Like, what the fuck?
It's great.
No.
It's frosted. But Ganja, tell them about those frosted rules.
All right, first
Yeah,
of all,
'cause they're
these
great.
rules are not frosted. They are chocolate covered, all right? We do it old school here. For example, rule number 1, newcomers join the call first. We want those fresh new faces, so that includes you guys that haven't been on to the MCA in a while or at all. So please hit me up in the PM or Anthony. Rule number 2, do not talk over each other. I knew it was coming. Don't do that shit because it ruins audio quality for later viewing. Rule number 3, please no nudity. It is a strict guideline on YouTube that they don't want us to show titty unless it's for science. So if you can find a scientific way to show us a titty, don't do it. Rule number 4, do not give anyone else the link. We have a planned show here, folks, and that includes who comes on the show. We might have a special topic for you and keep you in mind for that. So please don't hand anyone else the link. Rule number 5, read the rules. And Alan, I don't think Allie's here, so can you please say it?
Don't be a dick!
Oh, damn! Wait, everyone just threw their hands in the air for Dick.
Hey, it was a pretty big dick, man. It scared me.
You know what's funny is like Alan was actually kind of like how dude was like, oh, I get to say motherfucker again.
I was gearing up. And then...
He was like that gif and shit on the internet. Oh, this gonna be good. Let's just cheer out. This gonna
No, it was more like it was his turn to do his recital. He just got up to the mic and he's ready. And Allie comes running up, penis!
That's actually exactly what happened.
Wait, Allie she was like, hey, I'm that nigga, hey!
And then when the interview, when the person came up to Alan, he's like, "I look like a leprechaun to me." But yeah, dude, yeah. Wow, that's our very first little. Someone made a little picture of the.
Damn, they're just taking photos of me now. I'm
Yeah,
scared.
exactly. You know, you're becoming the new like super hot chick on the show and everything, man. You know, I'm gonna have to start. You know.
Well, they don't have Danielle anymore, so they gotta look at my double D's now.
Okay, you know that shit's hurting you deep inside for doing that shit. Okay, you know you don't like doing that.
A little bit, but it was funny though.
Does your
funny.
milkshake bring all the boys to the yard?
About 50%.
Okay, that's good. You know what? We're gonna test those numbers again. We're gonna do like some polls. We're gonna do some test the
in
data.
this conversation, please.
I just want to make sure. I just want to test the data to make sure that all the boys come to his yard. You know, I have to make sure.
And damn right, it is better than y'all's.
I gotta say really quick, since we're just ragging on Ganja, I'm just gonna start the show off with a community question while we bring people into the call because we want you in the call. So make sure to PM us. I don't see nobody new in this fucking call right now.
I don't see. I sent them out, Nick. The motherfuckers don't be paying attention.
No, but hey. But since we're ragging on Ganja, I just gotta say, dude, I can tell when there's always like you making a question because your font is so shitty. What the fuck does that
What the
say?
fuck you want me to?
Well, dude, like, which one are you using for one?
I use whatever the computer tells me to use. I'm not
Okay,
special.
the computer's not your friend, bro. Like,
No, it's not.
Okay, I can't let Ganja take the bullet. I did that, man. Come on.
why do you use it like that? That shit looks
No, it was
awful.
spaced out. I'd messed up. It was spaced out. Forget the reason. You know what?
Are we
Kerning
seriously
I
arguing
got
about
my glasses on.
No, kerning aside, that's for people that's that's what that's called. But that aside, let me read the
Yeah,
question.
he liked saying that, didn't he? You see
Yeah,
that, Alan? He was
yeah.
like turning aside.
No. The entire conversation makes my head hurt.
Aw. No, let me read it. So going back to the actual question, what's your favorite classic Cartoon Network show or obscure Cartoon Network project that you were a fan of? And Ganja really wanted to specify because he said between 1990 and 2005, all those 6, we wanted to make sure that you guys didn't, like, after seeing Real, none of that shit. We want classic cartoons, classic Cartoon Network, classic.
You know, shit you guys were watching like at 5 and stuff. I'm talking Dexter Laboratory. You know, the ones when they used to do Johnny Bravo call-in show. I'm talking about the old school Cartoon Network shit.
Old school shit right here, boy.
Yeah.
Hashtag nostalgia.
Yes.
Hashtag.
That's what you're all about, dude. Like those are the bumpers, basically, just nostalgia. Constantly.
Nostalgia. And since he just entered the call first, Marcus Kilgore, you go first, sweetie.
I don't know what I'm going first on.
Yeah, he didn't see the beginning of the question, but
He-
before I'm gonna show the thing up again. But I just want to say I'm really glad that Allie and Marcus work at the same place. That's awesome. Like I'm really glad you guys have the same uniform.
Yeah. The hell?
We're all kind of wearing the same shirt here.
I think you guys called each other.
The Apple Bar.
Okay. And he has this looks like Captain America's shield.
Wait, you trying to talk shit
Wait,
about
oh my
shirt?
God.
He looks great.
Oh no, Marcus. Yeah, see? I called it.
Hey, they
Mine
both work
is
at
just a
Apple.
sweatshirt.
Okay?
I'm just being a dumbass. Just, it's blue, the same thing.
It's the world, Amy. Shut up.
No, but I'll go ahead and show this question again. Anthony, go ahead and read it, sir.
No, yeah, it says, what's your favorite classic Cartoon Network show or obscure Cartoon Network project that you were a fan of? And like I said, again, just to reiterate, we're choosing between the decades of 1990 and 2005 or 6, whichever you prefer. Nothing past the whole seeing Real shit because we all don't want to remember that.
Right.
So, yeah, so like I said, Marcus, you go first.
Was Ed, Ed, and Eddie on Cartoon Network?
Yes, it was.
Yes,
it
I'll choose
was.
that.
Yeah,
That was a cartoon I was very fond of.
Yeah, no, and I see a lot of people in that actual chat saying that too. Like they saying a lot of Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Ed, and Eddie, which is kind of funny because like wasn't Ed and Eddie the last cartoon on the network to use traditional animation like cell and ink
I
and paint shit
believe
like
so.
that?
To my
Yeah,
knowledge,
so
I believe so.
which is actually fucking impressive. Like how long it went on too. So yeah, that was that was a fucking great ass show. What about you
It was.
guys? Since you said the actual question.
Actually, Marcus Kilgore said mine. Ed and Eddie's was one of my favorite ones because especially now, if I watch it as an adult, it's still funny because it has a lot of that semi-teenage adult humor, and it's one of those things now. If you watch it, it's like, how the hell do they get away with some of these jokes? Because there's some real like abuse and like body fluids used in the show that I don't think would get away with now without it having to be rainbow color.
Dude, the whole idea of the Kanker sisters, they're pretty much stalkers, man. Like really abusive stalkers.
The fucking name Kanker, that's a type of sore you get on your lip, dude. Like the whole thing, when you think about it, is disgusting working.
God,
And my other favorite. What happened?
Remember when you showed me? Tell me when you showed me that episode about that older one.
For example, I actually got Alan back into it to some degree because I showed him an episode of Ed and Eddie where they get stuck in the wall, and it starts off as a series of different stories being told. Ed's got a pretty good one. Eddie's got a basic one, but when they get to the special ed one, Ed, it turns into this fantastical world of him flying and finding the Kanker sisters who are 6 feet tall, and just explain how he crashed into this dude's roof from the chaotic sense. And it just showed how crazy they were able to get with animation, just all the different facial structures, just the amount of colors they threw in it. It was amazing. Like, I haven't seen that much animation in a while. My second favorite is definitely Courage the Cowardly Dog, hands down, because that was the first show I saw as a kid that was legitimately trying to scare me within my age group. Like, they never went bloody or they went violent. It was just always just this sense of suspense or this like sense of horror just hovering above whatever the storyline was. My favorite one is this Ramsey statue episode where they actually find the character of Ramsey and they steal this statue back and they take it back to the house. And it's just all different plagues attacking Courage and him trying to defeat it and save save Miriam. So I just love the animation style that they used back then too, because it was right at the time they started adding 3D animation to 2D.
Yeah, and they tried to bring it back to, what was it called? Like the Courage of Smog or some shit like that. It was the animated short for Courage. And it was okay. Yeah. It still had like the humor to it, but the Eustace, his voice was hard to get used to because the original voice actor had died. So it's just like, it's hard to get into. And I actually had a secondary question on top of Ganja's question too. But what Cartoon Network show actually taught y'all the biggest lesson? I actually get to that, but I'm going to actually talk about what about favorite Courage the Cowardly Dog episodes. Like my favorite one, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like a big Eustace had like a big mold on his foot. Like it was like this big fungus on his foot, and it acted like this kind of like 50s gangster or something like that. It was like, yeah, it was like, you get the money, see? You get the money, see? We're gonna squeeze her. We're gonna squeeze her, right? Like that shit was so funny, and like, and it kind of goes into that whole thing of me liking the 50s and 60s and shit like that. In terms of like lessons though, like which one of the shows actually taught me the biggest lessons? I want to say I don't even know if that show was around that time. I want to say Foster's was one of the original. I really want to say Foster's of Imaginary Friend was one of the original.
No, Foster's was one of those last cartoons that came out during the Golden Age.
I think it was the last one of the last ones. But that one kind of just taught me a lot of lessons. They were just like saying, you got to use your imagination. It's okay to love who you want to love and stuff like that. Be as creative or wacky as you want to be. I can't remember her name, but it was a girl named Lala or something like that. But it was like, she was like this black girl that was just like everything. Like they had banned her from the fucking mansion, the Imaginary Friend mansion, because every time she would come in there, she would have like this imagination that was just insane. So she would like make imaginary friends like every 2 seconds. She was just like, what if he did this? What if he did that? What if he did that? So like that episode kind of taught me like how to contain your imagination in a sense. Like you can have too much imagination in a sense or something like that. And I guess Courage too, like in a sense, kind of like taught me just like not be afraid of certain things, even if it's not like the odds are just like totally against you, still try to beat them anyway. So yeah, that show and Kids Next Door as well. Just, like Kids Next Door taught me a lot of lessons that I can't remember right now.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought up Courage the Cowardly Dog because it actually taught me one of my lessons growing up. It was an episode, I forget what the episode's title is, but the whole episode he's trying to be perfect for Muriel, and he's trying to be the ultimate dog, just cleaning the house, taking care of them. Just doing a whole 9 yards, and finally by the episode ends with just it was nothing scary or a plot or a overarching villain. It was just him trying to come to terms with he can't constantly be doing things to be perfect in her eyes. So the episode ends very somber. It just ends with them laying down. He goes to sleep. And this is where the episode gets fucking creepy. It cuts to like this weird fetus baby with a little hand curved up here, and it's like connected to an umbilical cord, and it's all color blue. And it goes, "You're not perfect."
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember that shit. Yeah,
You can't be perfect. And it's just showing that no matter what you do, inside you can never be perfect because you always have a judgmental voice telling you you're not doing right, you're not doing what you're supposed to. So it's more like coming to terms with what you can do and accepting what you can't do. And that was also another good episode Jordan posted up. It was kind of a basic one, teaching you not to treat people just for the way they look.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Oh, what about you,
know
Jimmy? Oh, go ahead, Nick.
Well, no, I was gonna say, like, I'm looking at this thing right now. That the baby is this thing you're talking about?
Oh fuck yeah! Look at that shit.
Yeah,
What the
is this
hell
a
am I
fucking
looking at?
Tool video?
God.
Like, this is crazy,
Have you
man.
seen this?
This
Yeah,
guy's luck was weird.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is really,
damn.
really creepy, man. I'm seeing this, and then then a bunch of tiles. But like, I actually looked up that foot thing too, dude. And here's right
Yeah.
here. This is fucking
Yes.
disturbing.
Yes, and that episode gets really like the funny thing about it is like he's disgusting, he's repulsive, and I can't. What was the girl Mario, right? Like he this
Yeah.
thing
Mario.
had like this cool accent though, like it looked repulsive and disgusting, but it was just like, yeah, we're gonna squeeze her. You see, if you don't rob the bank and get us the money, see. I was just like, man, that's so fucking cool. I don't know why. I like
Anthony, you remember how that episode ended with him having to lick the foot down to heal it?
Yeah,
We had to lick this fucking thing.
yeah, he had to lick
No,
it.
the
He had to
dog-
lick it.
Yeah, he had to
I think
lick
it
it to
shows
get
it right here,
the.
too.
Yeah, it does. Look at
Yeah.
that
Oh
shit.
well, fuck it. I won't be able to do it. But yeah, that's unfortunate as fuck, dude. Those shows like Ren and Stimpy was another one, dude.
Oh,
I really
God.
hated watching Ren and Stimpy. There was always some really gross ass thing going on. But yeah, I'm sorry for just jumping in there. What were you saying?
No. Jenny, what about you, sweetheart? What is like a classic Cartoon Network show from your youth, and which one taught you a lesson?
Oh my god. Well, you guys kind of harped on a bunch of them already, like with Courage, and I was a little older, so I didn't quite get into Kids Next Door and Foster's. Plus, Blue annoyed the fuck out of me, so I couldn't watch Foster's.
Oh,
The character of him just annoyed the fuck out of me, so I just couldn't handle it. But weirdly, like one of the shows I like, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of slack for this, but I really like Totally Spies when that was showing on Cartoon Network. I really liked it as a female. It just was funny because it's three girls basically saving the world, even though they're like total like valley girls. And it just kind of like it made me feel like really proud. Like, hey, I'm a girl. I can do this. I can do whatever. I can handle high school and I can do whatever. So
it was
surprisingly good.
It did, but the funny thing about it is it's actually still ongoing, I believe. Over in because I think it's a French cartoon if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
And
it's on that Boozy channel they got over there in Paris. It's a special kids show thing, and it's been going on for almost I think 20 years now, Anthony.
Damn, that's fucking
Yeah,
good.
yeah, for real. Yeah, because I know over here it used to air on the block Magoozy. So yeah, that was like with the whole little kid and whatever. So yeah, and it's still going on because I used to watch Totally Spies and Coleoco around the same times. But yeah, Totally Spies was pretty fucking awesome. Like I actually watched it like too. It had a lot of weird episodes and stuff like that. So yeah,
like some of the villains were weird and like some of the gadgets were weird. It was so fun. It was just kind of fun escapist. After school, like you just want to unwind. So I just watched that before I did
keep
homework.
facing on the Ron show. I swear to God. Like, you see that shit?
He wants to watch wrestling. Nick wants to watch wrestling.
I can't.
He's trying to do subtle propaganda advertising for you guys.
No, we're just going through all the universes, man.
You know what it is? It's like I don't want to like do a promo for the Ringside Hangout today. I just don't feel like it. So it's like I'm just gonna accidentally click on the logo all day. Like,
I'm not on the wrestling show. What are you talking about?
But no, Totally Spies. I did not remember this at all, man. But I mean, I like the animation. It looks alright. It's cool.
No, like I said, it's totally Charlie's Angels, but better. It did that whole little thing too, and like
That's not hard.
Yeah, really, it's not really that hard. Plus it wasn't
man.
really like kind of heavy-handed with the whole girl power thing either. It was just kind of like a fun show. So it was.
That's what I like
CJ, he
about
brought
it,
up a
yeah.
good one. What about Sailor Moon, Jenny? That was another one that was during
that was-
Cartoon Network's heyday.
That was totally my childhood as well. I mean, I'm still a huge fan of Sailor Moon. I watched because they put it back on Hulu with the new dub on it, and I've been rewatching that. So it's really, really nice. And the fact that they're currently redoing it in Japan, and by actually following the manga closer than the original series. And they've only gotten through the first 3 seasons of the show, so they still have to do the last 2. But it sounds like they're gonna finish them up. But it's kind of fun because it's closer to the animation style of the manga, and it's closer to the storyline. So it's kind of fun to see like the differences.
Okay, yeah, they always bring that stuff back to actually do stuff. Oh, one I actually forgot to mention because we actually got really into it because you said obscure Cartoon Network projects and stuff like that. So one that actually came on around the Golden Age time, but it came on at a really weird time block. It was like right before Adult Swim was going off the air and right when Cartoon Network was coming back on because I remember always seeing it when I was at my uncle's house when I would go back to school and stuff like that. But it was this show called Super Milk Chan, and it was like this weird cartoon. Like anime, but it was kind of weird because, like I said, like Adult Swim was over, so it wasn't technically on the Adult Swim brand. So it was like, but it still had cussing and stuff like that. So kids could have easily got up early in the morning and saw like this fucking little cute ass girl calling people "you dumbass." So it was just like this weird kind of cartoon that was just on at this weird time. Plus, like when you watch the episodes too, they have pretty much no direction. So it's just pretty much. It seems like the writers, whoever like made the show, it pretty much just seemed like, oh, let's just have this really weird idea and let's just see how far as fuck we can go with it because to come up with a plot. So it was because he actually kind of redubbed because I think over in Japan it was actually a little bit more serious. Then when they actually got it over here, they was actually dubbed it to actually make it a little bit more jokey. So it kind of shows you that whole little regional differences between shows and when we get them and versus when they get them. And Trey actually told me about the show because I just remember what it looked like, but I could never remember the name. So shout out to Trey for actually making me remember this fucking cartoon. But if you like weird and like kooky shit, like definitely check out Super Milk Chan. Like it is so fucking strange. So I love that Dutchman. What?
It looks like one of those cartoons you'd watch on GTA 5 on TV.
Yeah, it does. I was wondering why it looks so familiar. I was like, where have I fucking seen this before?
Yeah, like that, like Super Milk Chan totally seems like it could be something like MTV or something like that because it had that feeling to it almost. So it was really weird. But Alan, you go next, man. What is
yeah, the show that I loved as a kid, I watched almost every episode was Powerpuff Girls.
There's a joke to be had.
It's one of those things that it kind of, I guess, inadvertently taught me that it doesn't matter what your subject material is. If you have the right staff, people that actually know what they're doing, and just a lot of passion, you can make anything entertaining and incredible to watch. There's this one episode, one of my favorite episodes of the show is basically Speed done in 12 minutes. Where the main villain is like, you gotta go do all these different little, you gotta do all these weird different things, or your professor gets it. And it's this entire episode where they're just running around the town, either using their powers or using their ingenuity. And it is basically just, Speed, but it's really done interestingly well. And I like that the show has a lot of intelligence to it, but because it looks like a cartoon, no one really takes it seriously. Like, Nick, as soon as I said Powerpuff Girls, you're like, oh, what the hell is that bullshit?
Exactly.
But there's an episode where they basically break down why they're all different, and he explains it to them not like they're children, but like they're adults. Like, you're different because of how you were born. Your sister has, the ice breath. Your sister's super strong, and Bubbles for some reason can speak Spanish. Like,
I remember that episode.
That is so fucking funny. But I like just how they took a lot of intelligence and time to make the show really, really good.
Not only that, I remember one episode of Powerpuff Girl that I was watching on Boomerang with my little brother. It was a whole allegory about drug abuse. It was Mr. Mojo selling chemical eggs to these teenagers, and when they would take it, they would have the same powers as the Powerpuff Girls. So they started abusing it to the point that they were getting kind of addicted to it, and they were just begging, Mojo Jojo to give them more chemical eggs, So finally, he just turns them to crack whores and tells, hey, if y'all beat the fuck about the Powerpuff Girls, I'll give you a whole ounce of this shit.
Damn.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that show also has some of the. But it was one of the reasons why Tara Strong, I follow her career because she has one of the she's the voice of all of our fucking childhoods in this call. But the simple fact that she had so much range, almost to the point of Mel Blanc range, because it was one episode where Bubbles is she believes she's Mojo Jojo, but in the show, Tara Strong does it in a way where she does Bubbles' voice. But she makes Bubbles does this Mojo Jojo impression, so it sounds like Bubbles doing the Mojo Jojo impression. I'm like, that is fucking brilliant. That is
it wasn't an impression. It was not an impression. It was Mojo Jojo. As far as I'm concerned, it just felt like Mojo Jojo was inside Bubbles at that moment. Her voice acting was really good.
I was just like, holy shit, Tara Strong is fucking amazing, man. She is so good. But before we move on, Eddie, you go for last, man. What is the Cartoon Network show that you connect with?
Save the best for last. I like it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't a giant Cartoon Network fan, but the two shows I liked the most were Samurai Jack and Courage the Cowardly Dog.
God damn it! I was hoping we could get through this without someone saying Samurai motherfucking
Really?
Jack.
There's like 5 Cartoon Network
What the fuck
shows,
is wrong
man.
with you?
What's you, Eddie?
Dude, okay, no, honestly, man, we watched the season 5. Like, we'll save that for later on.
Oh no, don't this.
I'm sorry, but that shit is fucking stupid.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! Don't watch this.
Oh, I'm actually curious. Oh, Zoids. Good shit, Dejan. But
Yeah, but no, Eddie.
That was a show I liked, but they got rid of it too fucking quick to the point I had to get up like at 4 o'clock in the morning to catch the
Dude, I always thought about that show, but I forgot the fucking name of it. I thought it was like Zorge or something.
But like for Samurai Jack though, what was your thing with Samurai Jack? Like, why did you like it so much? Like at least back in the day.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't
God, their whole fan
watch
base
it.
says that.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Every time I ask him on the trailer, whatever, Alan's like, it's because it's animation. It's on. I like it. It's great. It exists.
Like the funny thing about it is just like I didn't watch it too much myself. Like I only got really into it when season 5 came back around, just because the art was actually really beautiful. But it was doing something at a time that was actually kind of risky. It was mostly a silent film or a silent cartoon, which most of these cartoons I like loud or like not obnoxious characters, but they stood out. Samurai Jack, like I said, it was like, no, let's go against that. Let's almost be an experimental film, almost in that sense. Like I said, most of these episodes have no dialogue. It's mostly basically visual storytelling. Granted, like I said, it's subjective if you think the storytelling is good or not. But like I said, it was doing something at the time that it was going against the grain, hardcore. So
and it
actually, yeah, and it succeeded, like in my opinion. So,
And a lot of those stories too, like, are based upon like previous things in the past, like movies, other media. Like they're great homages to those previous things.
Oh, they did 300 before 300 was a thing. There's
Exactly.
an entire episode where they talk about the Spartans of 300, Hawk Gates, all that stuff, but it's in like the future, and that's what I liked about the show as well, is that it gave them an opportunity, because back then all shows were kind of like that. They just did whatever they wanted. They didn't really have a structure or a plot. And with Samurai Jack, it gave them a chance to kind of just do like stories that you might have heard of, just in a completely different context that you wouldn't even have noticed until much later.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I want to bring up, because here's one thing, and really quick before you even continue on, like, Allie, did you give yours?
Nope.
Yeah, what's a Cartoon Network show? Like, what is it, like 1990, 2005?
Yeah, 2005, 1990, 2005.
Yeah, well, kind of have a little bit of a tie. So Powerpuff Girls, like,
Okay,
that was my
of
jam.
course.
I
Your
mean,
jam.
like, I had like all of the VHS tapes. I had I got the stuffed animals of the Powerpuff Girls and everything. Who's the green one? Buttercup.
Rosie O'Donnell, Minnie.
I was thinking Blossom, Bubbles. I'm like, wait, which last one? Buttercup was my whatever. Anyway, she was my favorite, but then also tied Justice League and Teen Titans.
Justice League and Teen Titans.
Okay, which one? Justice League Unlimited or the first?
Both. I mean, like, they're both connected.
Yeah.
I mean, so I count them kind of as one big show. But I mean, I was always a huge comic book fan, and like at that time, Batman Begins was just coming out, and The Dark Knight. So I was like all hyped up on Batman, and then it's like, oh my God, we got Justice League, got Superman, Wonder Woman, Hawk Girl, Martian Manhunter, and then like you got Unlimited, which had like all these other characters which were really freaking cool, and like I learned so much from the DC universe from Unlimited. And then Teen Titans, I just watched that show so much. Like, does anyone remember that Cartoon Network had these really great games online on their website?
Yeah,
I actually do.
Yeah.
Oh damn! Everybody got happy.
Yeah, no, those are the shit, dude.
Yeah, like Teen Titans one was always my favorite because like it was basically like Mortal Kombat just with Teen Titans.
Yeah.
So like I would play that all the time, and then I would play, of course, like the other shows games, but all of them were really cool. So like that was my, because like during the summer, like when Teen Titans would come on, like I was in camp, summer camp. So like summer camp, they would have you like you kind of get lazy, and they'd be like, okay, go watch TV. And it would always be at the time when Teen Titans came on, and we were all like, yes, Teen Titans, go, yay! Like that was our
Counselor was like, y'all go ahead and go watch those cartoons. We're gonna go
Oh,
smoke
yeah.
and join the group.
Oh yeah, we had a computer lab. We had a computer lab, and we were all on Teen Titans game. That was it.
Hey, Brittany, don't worry. I got the other ones in the computer lab, and I got the other ones watching Teen Titans. Let's go explore this doobie.
Like,
Exactly.
it's funny that you bring up both of those shows, Allie, because like from both like Unlimited and Teen Titans, one of the best storylines and like story arcs in television for me is the Trigon arc in fucking Teen Titans. I fucking love that arc in Teen Titans so fucking much. Just like that whole battle between Raven being like this demon or half human or whatever, and she's having to like escape her past between her father, but she's so connected to him. I'm just like, didn't that whole thing with Tara and stuff like that, how they literally beat the fuck out of her? They like, yeah, no more time for questions. You betrayed us, so now we gonna get you fucking ass.
That's why I love DC shows, man. They were just like, they took it to a whole other level in terms of like maturity. That like they really pushed it over the edge what they could show to kids. You know, same thing with Batman. The
they had people dying in that show.
Exactly. Like, that's how it became so mature, is from those shows, because like they did not care how old you were. It's like, we understand, we know that you're developed enough to understand this stuff. So we're going to tell you how it is, like, in a way, kind of give you a little bit of a taste of the real world. Like, yeah, not everyone has a happy ending, you know, everyone has struggles, you know.
Or how Unlimited sometimes turned it on the heroes. Like, the heroes being heroes is kind of like bad. Like, the whole, like I said, another one of, like, the greatest story arcs of TV, for me, is Justice League Unlimited. The whole thing between Amanda Waller and the government going against the Justice League. Like, yeah, I got this satellite in the sky, and we're scared of you guys, and like we want you guys to bring it down, and y'all got to go into custody and shit like that. And Lex Luthor,
that's how the first season.
I think so. I think that's how it first ended, but yeah,
like,
just
that's what leads into the ending. But yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's fucking
Lex Luthor becoming president, or like the question seeing the future because of the Justice Lords. Like that whole fucking storyline is so good. Oh my god, I love that damn storyline. But yes. People, if you have not seen, you know what? Watch this shit again. If you've seen it already, just watch it again.
Dude, I can watch that series over and over. Like, I showed it to my mom, and she loved it. You know, like it's there's something for everyone. You know, people who are into comics or not, like just have relatable stories or stories that are just intriguing for the general audience. It doesn't matter if you're into comic books or not.
Yeah, and to go, you know, from that, you guys are all excited and talking about like good storylines. Let's go to some bad storylines. Because you know I'm about to get into, man.
You got to even everything out, man. Good, bad, okay.
And I'm so glad you're the last one to talk right there, Alan, because this is something that me and you were definitely going to bitch out about a lot. Far Cry 5.
Oh, shit.
Dude, I know High Score talked about this. I don't want to be on this too long, but here's the thing, man. They need to stop trying to like redo this fucking storyline just because they got nobody that was as good as Voss as a bad guy.
Oh my god.
Dude, I'm telling you.
I'm sorry that Voss cured cancer.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Dude.
Thank you,
I mean, like, Pagan Min wasn't that bad.
Yeah, Pagan Min was great.
No, he was terrible. The one from
He just
Part 4, the
wasn't-
guy dressed with the purple fucking coat.
He was.
That guy was really cool.
Yeah, he was
Literally,
there. He
he's
was a
a
villain.
The entire game is a waste of your time.
I bought the game for him.
Well, because you like.
That's what sold me on the game, like that character, and I was like, okay, I don't see him.
The reason why, Allie, the reason why he looks just like Dorian. That's the reason why you did that shit, okay? Yeah, he's all handsome looking and everything. That guy, that dude sucked.
It's about like his character is intriguing. Like he's cool, you know.
And he's he tells you straight as it is throughout the entire game, to the extent where people were finding this out kind of week 1. That if you actually listen to him, the game ends in 15 minutes. Because he brings up a lot of stuff. Because it's funny, that game is all about, like, if you play the game and don't care about the story, it's, you know, go to this area and start liberating it. But the villain's almost saying, like, why the fuck are you here? Like, you have no dog in this race. You're just here to bury your fucking mother. Why do you feel the need to be a hero? Like, I don't think the game is particularly amazing, but I think that the villain is starting to point this stuff out, and I think that's one that the series gets really well, is they get their villains really well done.
But that's the thing that's frustrating to me, is it does that typical thing where some games do where like the storyline is so fixed and you have to do everything to make the storyline have a continuation, is that the gameplay just doesn't, it's stupid. Like, for instance, the very beginning where he takes you to his big mansion to show you like how badass he has it and everything's great. Why the fuck does he leave you in a room full of food, money, clothes, people, everything, weapons? You just stay in there and...
There are no weapons in that room, but because he says he'll be right back. He expects you to stay there to come back, and then you have a conversation with him, and the game ends.
That pisses me off, because like you get up and like it's just like, okay, any bad guy, like, okay, like, you know, at the end of Die Hard or any kind of like action movie, the bad guy's always talking too much shit and then he ends up getting killed. This dude does that as the first resort. I don't even know why he's a bad guy. They don't even tell you.
That's the thing. Like,
as the game goes on,
not that bad of a I mean, oh, he's done some crazy crap, but like it turns out that like the so-called heroes of the game that you're supposed to be doing all the stuff for, they're not as good as they say they are either.
They're almost
And,
as
like,
bad, just from different
exactly, they're almost as bad, maybe even worse. And so like he tells you like if you stay, like, all the stuff that you want to know, he takes you to go spread your mother's ashes and everything. Like he's not that bad of a guy.
No,
Really.
I
I think the game does start with him straight up like murdering a guard because when you come over, he almost treats you like a guest, and then like one of the guards like fucks with you and he stabs him in the throat with a fucking like potato peeler. Like that's how the game starts.
Yeah.
I don't know, but Anthony, you're saying something.
No, that's one thing, and like I'm not big on the Far Cry series, but I agree with Alan and Ali. Like they do really have great fucking villains, and the other guy was like no different. But like personally, one of my favorite villains in video game is Voss himself. Like Voss was a fucking great guy, and mindless aside that they fucking killed him, and he wasn't the main bad guy. It was like some other guy, which kind of really pissed me off. And I'm just like, yeah, this game is not what it is anymore. But just like you said with the villain in Far Cry 4, like you pretty much have to be like the good guys or not actual good guys and the bad guys are not actually bad guys. And it's kind of like that with Far Cry 3 with Voss. You almost got to become a worse jackass to even defeat the dude. Like
that's what's great about that game.
Yeah, by like the end of the game, you're actually like an asshole yourself. And you're like, holy shit, I'm actually worse than this motherfucking dude. So like, I love that whole dynamic. Plus, Voss and I would actually say that game actually had really good marketing leading up to it too, like with those internet videos or whatever. Because that guy that had to play Voss was actually fucking awesome. And then they had like McLovin in those videos or whatever, and you can actually find that Easter egg in the actual game. Like that was actually kind of cool. That was actually how they did that. But Voss was the only thing I cared about in Far Cry 3. But this Far Cry 5, I'm actually really interested too because this kind of taps into something that I like, period. And I don't know why I like this type of stuff, but pretty much the antagonist in this game seems like to be like this religious cult leader. And I don't know why, but I love cult leaders. Like Nick, you know where I'm going with this, like with Cole Bray Wyatt and wrestling and shit like that. Just like this guy that's so deep in his own mind, so deep in his own thoughts that he's so fucking insane that he gets a group of people to believe the same shit he's brewing too. Just that whole line. He kind of reminds me like Alan said it best. He said this is kind of like BioShock but on the ground. BioShock. It kind of is. Like because this guy does kind of remind me of some Comstock shit. Because in the trailer he says, "You're all my children and I'm the father." Like it reminds me of some Comstock shit. So I'm looking forward to this.
Not only that, just the fact that they based it in Montana, it kind of makes the storyline a lot more plausible. Because I don't know if any of you guys know about this, but for a long time, there's been a lot of neo-Nazi groups and cults that have been popping up in Montana and a lot of those North Dakota, South Dakota, those Midwestern states. And I think maybe a year or two ago, there was actually a big giant brawl between a local cult and a group of neo-Nazis in like the center of town.
That's crazy.
They all kill each other.
Ridiculous.
So this stuff is actually really occurring out there. Not prior to the grand scheme where they're having air fights, but just small town people fucking with each other and like the Cathlys and McCoys. That shit goes on every other day out on the countryside, especially out there on the frontier.
The only thing that bothers me is like I've been a big fan of Far Cry since Far Cry 2, and then I went back and played Far Cry 1, which was pretty damn awful. And Far Cry 2 was the only game that felt like it had its own identity. And it was like, yeah, we're gonna have this thing where like you have somewhat missions and you have like voice acting and whatnot, but for the most part, it's a gameplay that really matters. We don't give a fuck. We're not telling you a big story. Let's just play the game. Very basic. It was cool. Far Cry 3 tried to bring you that like storyline aspect where it was like, oh man, like this whole world's pretty interesting. Like let's see what happens, etc. And then like after they run out, because they basically ran out. That's why he's not the main villain. It's like, we got nothing else. I mean, we can't have him rape you, so like, what the fuck are we gonna do next? Like,
it did get really repetitive, especially in co-op. Like me and my brother tried to play co-op. Like we traded that shit in right after it got repetitive, and we traded it for like Donkey Kong Country Returns. So,
which was a not bad idea. But here's the thing, though.
That was Far Cry 4, though.
Far Cry 4 was awful.
Yeah, basically Far Cry 4 was bad. But the thing is with Far Cry 3, when that started getting repetitive and whatnot, like you said, and everything started to suck. The gameplay wasn't good enough for you to continue on. Like after you lose that main villain, the game gets pretty fucking boring. And then Far Cry 4 was like damn near all story. And I know Allie, she loves story. She loves all the campaign. I'm a gameplay dude. Like I got stories from my movies and TV shows. I don't need to play a game to get the fucking story. Like that's why I don't like Uncharted very much because it's a great story, very cinematic. but you can't have both of them together in the same thing.
You son of a bitch.
I mean, like, well,
Damn.
Hello to you too, Rashad.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Ali go,
Sabotage.
and then Rashad, you can tell me off right after Ali. But go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that Far Cry 4, I wasn't really interested in the story after the first intro. Like,
Me too. That's the problem.
it got like, okay, this is kind of like it almost like forgot the story. Honestly, like most of the way, it really started to get, like everyone said, repetitive. That's why I gave up my copy. Well, before I did that, I restarted the game and I just stayed where Pigman told me to stay, and I was like, okay, I finished the game. Woo!
Wait,
Like,
I thought you guys were joking. Does that
No,
really
that's
end?
legit.
No, that's real.
It's actually, you can do that. You can just
Okay,
stay
how the
there,
fuck
wait
are you
15
defending
minutes.
this?
Because nobody knew about this till like the first week. It's not like they advertised that you could beat the game 15. It was kind of one of those like Metal Gear Easter eggs that nobody really knew until someone just kind of did it.
Dude, that is bullshit beyond
No, 'cause what
bullshit.
I
I'm
actually
so
think that's
mad.
kind of funny.
What
Like,
happened?
I think it's
fun.
clever.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
happened, Nick, is as soon as he said, "I will be right back," you can move. And what happens is you move to you start moving to the next room, and then something explodes, and some dude kind of takes you, and the game starts. But if you don't move, and 15 minutes later, he'll be like, "Okay, come bear your thing," and the game ends.
I fucking hate that.
Nick,
Wow.
I fucking hate that.
No,
Oh
no,
my
you can't.
God.
You cannot. No,
That's a Metal Gear.
Nick. Like he said, Metal Gear does that same shit where you can
Come
literally
on, Nick.
beat the ball. One of the boss in Snake Eater by just adjusting the fucking PlayStation.
No, hold
2
on.
clock.
Or maybe different
No,
week.
that's a lie. That's
No,
not
No,
true.
you can. I looked it
You
up.
can.
You leave for
No,
a
you
week,
Hold on,
can't.
guys.
just
Hold on,
die.
hold on, guys. Do you remember, Nick, in Metal Gear Solid 3 where you've run into fucking aliens?
No, I don't.
What?
There's a chance for you to run into aliens in a fucking Metal Gear Solid game.
I know that happens in
Two of
Silent
them.
Hill all the
I'm
time.
so into this franchise. I've never seen a Snake Eater.
Look
talking
it
about?
up. Snake Eater, look it up. There's a part where if you find out a secret pathway, you can see a UFO for like a split second, and Snake goes, "What was that?"
Okay, well, it's just a fucking. If it's a split second,
But
Guys,
Anthony's point of okay, it was called the end, or one of the snipers is if you turn your game off or just wait a week and come back, he'll die of old age.
Yep.
Like you can look it up.
oh,
Kojima said it
what
himself
the
that he would never do that.
fuck?
Yes, exactly.
That's kind of cool.
The thing is,
That's not cool. That's stupid.
How about the one that you love the most? The fact if you don't kill nobody, you can beat one boss by just walking straight down a river.
Yeah.
that's great. That's my favorite one. That's my favorite one of that game.
Okay, here's the thing, Anthony. I know you're making fun of me. Stop! Wipe the fucking smile off your face.
See, Nick,
We
what we're
got
saying is
Anthony
it's not a bad
Buchanan
thing. It's
this
kind of
one.
cool.
No, hold on, I'm not done. Because Anthony, I didn't know this shit. If I did, I would say Metal Gear Solid sucks, and it does suck now. You
Oh
ruined
no,
my
it
whole
does. Oh
fucking
yeah,
life.
Snake Eater entirely sucks because of one Easter egg.
No.
If you're forced to do this stuff, like just play the game normally.
That's stupid
Like,
as shit.
You don't know
I mean,
until
just
people
look
just
on
did
YouTube
it.
if you want to see it. You don't have to do it yourself. But like, hey, for us, I think that's kind of cool. They have these little Easter eggs, and if you wanted to, you could like beat the game.
I am not going to
I'm gonna
flip
beat
flop
your
harder
ass.
than
No,
correct.
Nick.
I can't
no,
get over that
he
shit.
did
I'm
this-
gonna be mad about
Hey,
you
bro,
for the whole 3 hours
bro,
of this fucking
only
show.
did that shit to you because you be so ready to jump on other people's shit that you don't even look at your own fucking toilet. Like, come
No,
on
hey,
now.
Damn.
oh, but hold on, Anthony. Here's the thing. I'm looking into my own toilet now, and that dookie is on the sides. It's nasty.
Oh,
All
okay,
right.
okay, Nick. You do not
Wow.
hate MGS3 because of one Easter egg you
TMI.
never knew about. You
Exactly.
don't hate that
What-
game.
what
No,
year
what
is
did
it
Bro,
now?
to
Come
me.
on, man.
They're
I'm
weird.
curious.
I'm more surprised that you're a huge Metal Gear Solid fan. You never knew this.
Yeah, for real.
Because I don't go around trying to find shit I don't like about my own shit that I like.
No one's
Oh my
forcing you to do it. Like,
No,
doesn't mean
but-
it doesn't change anything though.
Allie,
Like,
Allie, see, look at Anthony's little fucking thing down there, okay? Look at Anthony's face. That's why, because
But
motherfuckers
the
like
thing
him.
is, it's not like it changes again. But it's not like the game is like magically bad. Like those little Easter eggs are in all games. It's just some game series do it more often than others.
I'm gonna have to get. I'm gonna go to Austin. I'm gonna beat Anthony's ass.
No, you fucking ruined Metal Gear.
I don't know how that doesn't ruin Metal Gear, man.
It kind of does. It kind of does.
How?
That's just stupid.
No, Nick, no.
Doesn't
We've been
change
jumping on Nick.
anything.
Explain to me how that. Just get like a minute. Explain. I
Yeah.
want to know why does that ruin it for you?
Because it's like the developer really doesn't give a shit about the player at that point. Like, oh, dude, okay, the shit that I went through. I used to beat these games on veteran mode. I used to beat these games without getting killed once. And you could literally just, like, kill a boss by walking through water, whatever the fuck God just said. Like, fuck that game. You know how much times I almost broke my controller over that shit?
Yeah, but
Nick, I don't understand how you're a fan of Metal Gear, but you don't like story. The extensive cutscenes are in those fucking games, especially some of the Patriots. I don't understand.
Preach!
No, because here's the thing, Rashad. You know what you can do is I'm not forced to deal with the fucking story because when you play the game, you're not playing through any kind of story. You have a tons of gameplay to go through. A Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots.
That's for every game.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
that's
Because
for
when
every
Uncharted.
game.
No, it is.
No, it's not. Because Uncharted. I'll give you examples.
Hey,
I'll
dude,
give you
don't
examples.
you even? Metal Gear has like some of the most longest cutscenes I've
But you're not on
ever
the same
seen.
topic, sweetheart. You're not on the same topic because Uncharted, you have a fucking situation where fucking
Uncharted does
Nathan
not
Drake.
have as long of freaking cutscenes as Metal Gear.
I know you're talking about cutscenes. I'm not talking
Wasn't
about
that
cutscenes.
why everyone complained about, what was it, the fourth one?
Guns of the Patriots.
Look
Yeah,
where
Guns
we
of Patriots.
started, Anthony.
But here's the thing.
Look
Here's the thing.
where
We're not done
started.
yet. We're not done yet. Hold on, Allie.
Your
Here's the thing.
argument's invalid. You love
But
Metal
Nathan
Gear,
Drake-
the most longest cutscenes in
But
a
here's the
video
thing.
game ever.
Oh,
here
Like,
it is.
But here's
why
the
are you
thing.
gonna compare Uncharted?
Because Uncharted does this thing where I have to play through the cutscene. Like Uncharted, Nathan Drake gets shot 100 times during gameplay, right? And then the cutscene gets shot. He walks out. You have to walk. You have to literally walk with him holding his fucking ribs. Ooh, ow, oh. Like even though he's gotten shot 1,000 fucking times, but you have to go through a whole 20-minute little fucking like half fake ass
That's
fucking.
for every freaking video game, though.
Not for
Didn't
Metal Gear
get Guns
Solid.
of the Patriots. If he stayed out in the sun too long, he would get tired.
If you
but
play
doesn't change the
MGS3 and you
gameplay.
spin around in the cuts, if you play MGS3 and you spin the main character around in the start menu, he'll throw up.
Who gives a shit? You don't have to do it. Do you have to spin
Exactly,
around? in a
exactly.
second?
You don't have to do it. Just like in the Far Cry 4.
But
Just like
Uncharted,
the
you do.
You don't have to
Uncharted,
do it.
you have to do it, Helen. And Uncharted, you have to. When you play Uncharted 2 and you fucking Nathan Drake gets shot and a few other games too, he has to literally walk around like a quarter of the speed and hold on to his ribs because he took one bullet, even though the rest of the game he takes 1,000.
You can argue that like Tomb Raider does the same thing.
And
Tomb Raider does
yes,
the
and I do argue
any
that.
character in Far Cry.
Absolutely,
Max
you're making
Payne.
my point for me, sweetheart.
Metal
You're making
Gear
me
the
win.
same thing. Every
Wait,
so you don't
game
do
is
it.
the same thing.
You
Every
made
game
my
is
It's
the same.
point.
When you come
storytelling.
when you come out of a cutscene, you're gonna get hit at least once. Like even if you take little health, like a little health bar is going down a little bit, like you're still taking a hit.
But you can still play the game the way you would play it with throughout the entire thing. You can still roll, you can still dodge, you can still run. You don't have
No,
to
but you
literally
will get
fake-
hit at least once with that throughout the whole game, at least once.
I don't mind
Right?
you getting hit.
You're
I don't
talking
mind
about
you
the
getting hit.
opening of Uncharted 2. I agree with you. That opening is fucking garbage.
20
But you're talking
minutes
about the
long,
opening of
that
the
shit.
game.
Hey, hey,
It's
that's
garbage.
the
I
best
love the
openings.
opening.
It's nasty
I love it
doo-doo.
personally.
But you're talking about the opening. Like that doesn't happen throughout the entire game. That's just the opening.
But it happens on the other games too, and it happens in Tomb Raider, like she said, in Far Cry, like
But
she
it
said.
happens better in Tomb Raider.
But it still happens. It's bad. I don't like that shit. When I watch a cutscene, I want to be able to skip the cutscene and move on, like Metal Gear Solid does. Yes, they're hours long. Yes, it's fucking ridiculous. But you can skip it. You can skip it and play the fucking game. You can't do that in Uncharted. You can't do that in Far Cry.
Then don't play them.
That's why I don't.
I
If it's not your cup of tea, don't play it.
People, this is
Why
what
are
you
you gonna
call a
ruin it?
victory.
Why are you going to ruin it for other
This
people?
is what you call a victory, people.
Why are you gonna ruin it
Glorious.
Why are you gonna ruin it for other people? I like playing through.
Tell
a cutscene.
Anthony. He told me about the Metal Gear Solid thing. He ruined that franchise for me. So did Ganja.
Just
So
play
did
the
Alan.
games we love.
I have not seen anyone flip flop harder on a franchise than Corey Coleman watching the Suicide Squad trailer.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just
Hey,
letting you guys know I won. I'm the best.
No,
You
Rashad.
guys. In
Wow.
your fucking faces.
Yeah.
No, that shit is like far in his damn throat right now.
I'm
He's
just
like,
saying.
oh,
Fuck
like,
Fuck you.
oh,
Fuck
man.
you. You're cool, but fuck you too. I won. I'm
You
amazing.
didn't win. You didn't win anything.
God.
Nick
damn.
just did
You
the
are
equivalent
arguing-
of
you
just
are
throwing the chessboard up while we're playing a
Oh my
game.
God.
I
So
didn't
Far
even
Cry
like it.
5, man, it looks pretty
Okay.
good.
You're arguing that a character should not ever get hit in any video game ever. Like,
Hey, what's Skull doing in chat? Oh, that's a cool little picture there.
Can I just point this
Wow.
out? There's this wine called Chaos, so you're welcome.
Anyway, wait.
But back to the point at hand.
Yeah, so this
Far
fucking
Cry.
game's gonna suck. I hate this game.
Nah.
Look, the point is this game is interesting. It's a Far Cry game set in America. Far Cry's always had weird magical bullshit, so I'm curious how they're gonna put it into this game. So that's Far Cry 5.
And you know, and this part in the trailer is really cool too. If you look really closely, he's actually looking for Allie's point in the sky. He flew away.
Oh,
So-
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Damn thing.
Really? I back you 100%. I will say that right now.
So hey, man, While we're talking about video games and whatnot,
Oh no, not again.
Anthony's
no more
here.
video games.
No, hey, Castlevania's coming out.
Here it comes.
Oh shit, yeah. I wanted to actually talk about this on the midweek too, but it's actually because when this trailer came out, let me get that out. Let me get that victory out of my throat. Anyway, when I seen this trailer and stuff like that, it's kind of reminded me of like this fan art that it was going around the internet. It was like Studio Ghibli mixed with Legend of Zelda, and a lot of people was thinking that it was real, but it was like no, it's actually fake. It's actually fake because it was actually gonna be like a Legend of Zelda project on Netflix, which could still be possible. I don't know if it was a rumor or not. But the funny thing about it is actually like I never would have thought Castlevania would actually be the first project. And like when you look at this trailer, because it's called Castlevania Vengeance, and I'm really curious what's the story for this too. I wonder if they're gonna tackle the first Castlevania or Simon's Quest or one of the other ones. I'm really curious what the story's gonna tackle. But the animation looks fucking beautiful. It looks so well animated, and I am so hyped for this. Granted, I'm not a big Castlevania fan, but I'm really curious just to see what this like video game property on Netflix, and I think this is like the first Nintendo one, if I remember correctly, or something like this, like Netflix is tackling. And if this does well, maybe we can finally get that Legend of Zelda animated.
Now, is this a movie or a television show?
I think it's a movie. I'm not sure about that though.
This will be a movie. This will be a movie, and The Witcher will be a television show.
Okay.
Oh, The Witcher.
I kind of would have rather a Castlevania television show because I want to see like The Witcher will prove it, but I want to see can you because we've been saying this for years, adapt video games into television shows because you can take the time you need to make everything work out well. So I guess we'll see what the Castlevania.
Well, they probably have to buy the property. That's probably expensive because they probably buying this from Nintendo, and they probably charge who knows what for this, and they doing this project. Because I don't know, I don't know who's actually the animation studio that's animated. I should actually look that up. But like from the trailer and stuff like that, it like the animation. It seems like it would be way too expensive to do this on a weekly basis on like a TV show budget. Like it would not look this good if it was TV show. It looks fucking too amazing. So it has to be a movie and stuff like this. And like I said, maybe we can eventually get that if this does well. Like you said, like the whole Witcher project coming up and this project coming up. I hope we get more Nintendo properties because like the animation kind of reminds me of the Smash Brothers trailer for Palutena. Because me and Ala always geek about that. Like we want a Smash Brothers fucking anime something cartoon. So maybe this can like go into that or something like this. Like Netflix, I'm just really excited that Nintendo and Netflix is coming together for some kind of Nintendo property, and I can't wait to see more of it. And the trailer for this is actually really fucking cool. Like they start off with the whole NES, the popping the game, the cartridge into the actual NES, and then you see the actual animated stuff. So I'm really, really fucking hyped for this. Like I said, I'm not even a big fan of Castlevania, but just from the animation alone, I am really fucking hyped. And plus it's Nintendo, so I'm really curious.
Yeah.
Can I ask the studio that's doing this, the animation studio is doing this?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I'm trying to find
the animation
it.
looks familiar to me. The animation looks very familiar to me. Like almost looks like Attack on Titan to me, but
Man,
I don't think.
I just hope that this is successful so I can eventually get my Halo series.
That's
Maybe
never
for
We already
coming.
had one. It was called
That's
Nightfall, and it sucked.
We're not
That's
talking
never
about that
coming.
one. We're not talking about that one. I want a Netflix production. Very well done.
I want
Don't
to
bring up that bullshit to me, please.
But Locke, though, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Fuck you.
Oh, hey, I actually think it's gonna be a show.
Is it?
So it is a show.
Like it's a
That's what I said, it's
4-part
gonna be a series.
series. Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah,
that
it's a
animation.
series.
Wait, how many episodes then? Because
It's 4 parts.
Four
For the
part.
first
Okay, so it's
but
not
they
even
say
4
first
parts.
season.
Yeah.
They say
Well, yeah,
first
but-
season, so there's going to be several seasons. I don't know how long the episodes are going to be. I don't know if it's going to be similar to like how Sherlock is, you know, where they have like
3
long
episodes, hour and a half
episodes. Yeah.
like movies,
Yeah.
like episodes.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
'cause it
something
looks
I'm
too-
hoping for with this series. Oh,
Okay,
No,
now
go-
I'm
no,
looking
go-
more forward to it because they could take the time they need to develop
Yeah.
everything they need to.
No, go ahead, Marcus Kilgore. What you saying?
I was gonna say something right quick. I really hope for this Castlevania series they nail down the music because that's
Yeah.
my
Yes.
absolute favorite part of playing a Castlevania game is the music.
Nice.
Yeah, true. Like I said, Simon's Quest has like some of the best music on the NES, like period.
Oh
So
yes.
some of those Castlevania games is really cool. And like just a side tangent too, I really hope that comes back because just I don't even know if people know this, but for Castlevania fans, I think the creator of the series is on Kickstarter. His newest game, Bloodstained,
Yeah,
is
Bloodstained,
coming up, and I'm like, oh my god! So and I actually heard some of the music tracks for that too. So yeah, it seems like it's continuing that same thing. So
Nice.
hell yes, it seems like it's gonna be really good for some Castlevania fans. I know, like I said,
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
really looking forward to this. Forward to this. and just what this means for like future properties. It's like, I'm with you, Alan. I'm not a big fan of the series, but if this does well and Netflix could get more Nintendo on their list, like hopefully this does mean we could finally get that animated Legend of Zelda series, because I would fucking watch that. Like, holy shit.
That's a terrible idea. Smash Bros, yes, not a Legend of Zelda one. That would ruin it.
Okay.
Why not Legend of Zelda?
Yes, yes. Now Legend of Zelda will get ruined by if it was animated.
Well, that's the thing too, because Super Smash Bros. Doesn't really have a whole lot of story other than like, yeah, there's a bunch of guys brawling. But Legend of Zelda actually has a story. Why not do that episodically?
Because the thing is, when Smash 4 was coming out, what they did is they did a lot of animated intros, and one of the ones that stood out, and I'll post it in chat because it's one of my favorite ones, is one of the characters, Palutena, coming out, and what it showed was a canon rivalry between Pit and Link, and it was just them fighting, and the animation was incredible, the fighting was incredible. So it actually works better that Smash has no story, because then they can do whatever the fuck they want. They could just make, like, almost like that web series for Mortal Kombat. They can kind of just do whatever they want within the confines and not really feel like conflicted to or like grounded to anything. They have free reign. With Legend of Zelda series, most of it is just pushing blocks and fighting monsters. It'd be kind of hard to do a show where the main character doesn't speak.
The one thing you bring up Mortal Kombat Legacy. Oh wait, go ahead, Gotcha.
No, because you brought up Smash Bros. I think it'll be very possible if Nintendo wants to get the little kid market and teenage market. It'll be very possible to do a Smash Brothers cartoon series on Netflix or Amazon.
And the biggest thing too, Alan, you brought up the Mortal Kombat Legacy thing, and yeah, like for the first season, I was digging it too. But because they had free reign to do whatever they want, that second season was so fucking awful. It's unbelievable.
Oh,
it was.
I mean,
I was so upset about that.
Yeah, and that's the problem about giving motherfuckers like, hey, do whatever, be creative, man.
But that first season though, that first season was incredible.
Yeah.
That first season and that 7-minute short was also incredible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those
my
were
God,
incredible.
dude.
I watched them like 3 or 4 times. They're the fucking best. But that to me, that's what I want that for Smash Bros. Not a live action, an animated one. And I'm posting in the chat. I want to see Link constantly beating the shit out of Pit. Because fuck Pit.
Yeah.
Because what?
Fuck Pit. Pit is like this little piece of shit, little like whiny little angel bitch, and Link kicks his fucking ass. It was great.
Kicks him across the
God,
goddamn
Alan lost that
battlefield.
motherfucker a few times.
Yeah,
Jesus
right,
Christ.
like,
That's my childhood hero, beating the shit out of the person I hate the most, man.
Damn.
Yeah, man. But no, I'm actually gonna go into something that's not so much of trailer stuff or whatever.
Actually, before we jump off topic, you had asked for the studio for Castlevania who's making it for Netflix.
Yes.
So we have here the main person. It seems that it's going to be Frederator Studios.
Oh shit!
Federation Studios, nice.
Yeah, so they've done a lot of Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. Like right here they have like My Life as a Teenage Robot, Wow Wow Wubsy, Adventure Time, Rocket Dog, and also Powerhouse Studios. They've done mainly like really small projects. They're actually stationed in Austin, which is really cool. But that's who seems to be doing the animation for the show.
Well, thanks for the research.
Yeah, thanks for the info. Like that's actually kind of cool. Like Frederator actually does something like this with that animation being that beautiful. And for people that don't know, they also do like this whole internet thing too. Like I think the creator of Bravest War, what the fuck is Adventure Time? Pete.
Oh.
Yeah, not like Pete and Ward, but he actually does Bravest Warriors. And Frederator's also connect to one of my favorite animated things ever, like currently, is being Puppy Cat. So if you actually want some more cartoons, because like they like have this mobile app, because it was on YouTube, but they switched it over to like this mobile app called Ver, like VRV or some shit like that, and like they got all more. The Frederator actually does more cartoons behind the scenes and stuff like that. Like I said, Bravest Warriors, being Puppy Cat, and a lot of other animated shorts and stuff like that. So that's actually kind of fucking awesome. Like Frederator doing this, so okay.
Yeah, so one thing I'm going to do, so the rest of the show tonight, basically, people, I just want to let y'all know, is that it's all going to be community questions of the night, stuff like that, because Anthony's weird. He's so weird. But, and by the way, earlier, that was not a W, motherfucker. Fuck you. But anyway, so here you go. Go and read it, Anthony. And let everybody
No, it says, what is the eeriest picture on the internet? I meant to put place. I fucked up. I'm sorry. But yeah,
you're in the middle of a Google search. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, but it says, what is the eeriest place on the internet that you actually have come across? And just for people to actually get like time to think and stuff like that. One of the eeriest places, like, God damn it, because I actually had saved it right there. Because you know what? I go to the second one, but I always just call it that side of YouTube. But it's just like that, like you just like it's no name for it. Just call it that side, and I hope you show the video, Dick. But on one of that side of YouTube, it's this thing called sticky or getting stuck porn. But this is actually classified as a fetish. apparently.
Yeah, it is.
But- so I'm like, what the hell? And it's just like a whole bunch of, it's just like playlist after playlist of this shit too. Like people actually watch these videos and actually get turned on by them. I don't even know how I came across this shit, but I'm just like, okay, yeah, YouTube, like I said, it's just that side that you just like.
The weird side of YouTube that we don't talk about.
So yeah, don't go. And the other one, just really quickly that I just remembered.
And
too,
I'm
that
not
I was
going to
gonna
the site, by the way.
Don't please do not.
Yeah.
Please do not.
Rotten.com.
It's called Rotten.com, and it's pretty much shows a lot of
Oh.
dead things, like just like rotting flesh and just a lot of things decaying. And actually, me and my brother, I think, accidentally came across the site, like just accidentally just internet surfing. This is why you don't internet surf late at night, folks, on the internet. Just stay close to like the safe sites, like Cartoon Network, like play some of the Cartoon Network games, Barbie.com. Just like stick to those.
Yeah,
Like,
normal
don't-
stuff.
The normal stuff. Don't ever go like I said, Rotten.com. Like holy shit, they used to scare the fuck out of me, man. But yeah, these were some of like the creepiest, eeriest shit that I've seen on the internet.
The
What about
eeriest
you?
place I ever went to on the internet, man, is when I found out about the dark web and I wanted to check it out. So I downloaded the Tor browser.
Oh,
I
no.
did the whole 9 years. I did the whole tutorial how to do it properly, and I started browsing the dark web. You want to talk about some dark fucking shit, dude? I saw an ISIS education video that I'm more than sure was fucking real, and I saw this one website that was legitimately advertising for serial killers to find their better marks. It was a website dedicated to people logging into like the street lights and street cams and stuff, so you could find your best hunting ground scenarios.
What?
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're good, man, with the topic. like,
I was just like,
topic,
holy
I was like-
shit! Like, should he even be saying that shit on air?
yeah, so
Yeah,
yo,
that's
hey,
what I
if you-
did.
I didn't buy nothing. I got my own places.
what's something you thought was totally fake and ridiculous until you Googled it?
The dark web.
When I read this question, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna take us some dark road." I did not think it would end up like this. Holy shit!
Well, most human beings are known not to go that fucking far.
Hey, I was curious and I had the Tor browser. What am I supposed
Who
to do?
said we were most
Threw me
human?
off is that you said you went through the tutorial. Like, there's a wiki page or a wiki how page.
Hey, I went to the
pictures.
tutorial because I didn't want to get my shit hacked in
Okay,
the dark
Anthony,
web. They'll
just-
use that for
You could
terrorist
just
shit.
look for it on YouTube.
Anthony, all I'm gonna say, Anthony, is like next week, please don't make a question of the night that says like, "What's the youngest girl you ever fucked?" Because Ganja gonna say something.
What is the
Speaking of the dark web, Nick,
Anyway, so yeah, this question. Anthony, read this shit, please.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, again, it's like, what's what's something you thought was totally fake or ridiculous until you Googled it? And like y'all talk about going down deep paths and shit like that. Some weird. I just want y'all to clarify some of this shit because somebody like I don't want y'all to be like, oh, this motherfucking dumbass. You just believe anything on the internet. No, some of this shit I still don't fucking believe. But while I was like researching this stuff, apparently, and Ganja, I was gonna ask you before, but I think you confirmed it already. But in Germany, the company Bayer used to use heroin in cough medicine.
yeah,
Like,
that was actually one of the questions for the 420 show.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, seriously?
Okay, you do know that like half of the shit that's in heroin's and all the medicines that we all take today, right?
Nick's not wrong.
I don't know. Well,
Dude,
I don't know
morphine
this
is
shit.
heroin.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Like,
opium. Heroin is basically opium made with like a little bit of different kind of ingredients, but like opiate, it's in our food. Like it's in a lot
No,
of
what
shit.
he's saying is that the actual like the closest representation to the drug was used in there because the same reason you have morphine is to dull pain. So they added heroin to the actual baby cough syrup so that the babies wouldn't feel as much pain. What he's saying is not so much that there's very similarities, is that was basically heroin in kid stuff.
Dude, you were getting that shit in the fucking Robitussin and the cough syrups that were
Yeah.
PM. Like you were getting that lean shit at the same age. It was no
Like I
different.
said, this just goes to show you that I'm a little bit naive. Like I just put shit in my mouth and stuff. Like, wait, somebody can take that out of context. But I
God.
really need, like, it really shows you that most people, like I said, like we're dumb Americans. We just eat and consume shit. We really don't look at or label like what the fuck we're actually consuming. But Jenny, you was about to say something? Like,
Yeah, as somebody who works in the pharmaceutical industry, they deal drugs for a living legally. Yeah, I mean, most of the stuff, like, there's a reason they scheduled like all these drugs. Like, there's a reason why heroin's a C1 because eventually they realized, hey, this shit's addictive. You probably shouldn't be giving it to people. So, I mean, marijuana is a freaking Schedule 1 drug, which I don't agree with whatsoever. But, it eventually, like, they realized, like, hey, there's some medicinal properties to these things. But then, kind of like with the whole OxyContin thing. Hey, get too much of this shit, it's kind of addictive. You kind of need to be a little worried about it.
Yeah.
That Skull's right. Yeah, he actually posted in the chat room. Heroin, the only reason it was invented was to get people off of morphine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, the original morphine addiction was cured because Adrian said it in chat. Cocaine was actually one of the main ingredients in Coca-Cola, and it
Yeah.
cured morphine addiction.
That is insane. And like speaking of things that's like invented for a reason, apparently Cornflakes was also like part of some kind of anti-masturbation program.
Yeah.
I don't understand that one at all.
I don't.
All right. I actually looked
Oh
this
my
up.
God.
The reason that Mr. Kellogg thought this is he thought that the reason that we were sexual beings is because we were attracted to scents, taste, and different kinds of exotic flavors. So if he figured if he made like the most blandest possible cereal or food ever, you would not have any urges because there's no sense, no input on those kind of senses to give you those kind of urges. He was completely fucking wrong, and he also thought if men should be circumcised at the age of 3 so they knew what the pain was so they wouldn't masturbate.
The one thing though is like
Whoa.
as I'm looking at this,
Fuck.
I think I think like all food should be considered like anti-masturbation stuff because who wants to jack off when you're eating breakfast?
He does bring up
Multitask them good.
Yeah.
then your food will get cold.
I'm sorry, but I do get a little tingle when
Like
I
it might be kid tested, but it's definitely mother disapproved. Like it's not like
Mother disapproved.
Wow.
That needs to be on every video game ever from now on.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So something I didn't believe was real. I'd have a buddy of mine tell me about this because I kind of live under a rock for the most part. So when Dead Space 2 was coming out,
You
my
jacked
buddy
off?
was like, "You gotta check this thing out." What?
Damn, Anthony, wasn't that funny?
I'm confused. What? Nick said something and then Anthony just exploded. What just happened?
Just caught me off guard. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm done. Clearly, you'd rather laugh than hear the rest of my fucking story. So whatever. Rashad, what you got something, man?
No, I have nothing.
Okay.
No,
I'll stay
sorry,
away.
man.
I'll stay away from the dark parts of the internet.
Yeah, no, I don't know. What were you saying? I'm sorry, I really was curious. Like,
Okay. I was gonna say. So again, I don't really look into much news or much stuff. So when Dead Space 2 kind of got announced, my buddy's like, "Oh, check out this video. They got a bunch of old ladies and women and mothers to sit down and watch this game." Like that's not fucking real. Googled it, and it's like the entire marketing campaign was "Your mother hates this game."
yeah, and they were all screaming like, "Oh my god, what the fuck!" Like it was amazing, and I think that works because they did that for Paranormal Activity and a bunch of other shit too. That's something they do often for movies and whatnot. And I like that idea. Like get some real reactions
Well,
out of people.
People got kind of caught on to the whole Paranormal Activity thing when they figured that was kind of bullshit and staged.
Yep.
Yeah. But no, and then you, Anthony, you brought up a couple other things too that like for one, I'm looking at this video and this
What?
motherfucker.
Oh,
What the
leave him
fuck?
alone.
That looks like a fat Keanu Reeves.
Leave Rod Barry alone. Like this motherfucker sounds like he's supposed to be collecting cereal, but apparently, yeah, this guy named Ron Barry, I believe that's his name again. But yeah, he's got like this. He started collecting cereal boxes, and I think he has it like in the bottom of his house, like in his basement or whatever. And I'm not sure if it's open to the public. But when I first heard about this, I was just like, okay, that can't be real. Like, who would literally spend their time to find cereal boxes or whatever? But apparently, with the source of the internet, I found this guy, and this is actually on my bucket list to actually visit this museum if I can. Like I said, if it's actually open to the public.
Take into his house, take a photo.
I'm a big lover of cereal. Everything crunchy.
Is that
Really,
the reason
Anthony?
why you got that fucking box
I
as this
love
topic?
cereal. Like this skit was like hours in the making.
Wait. You
Also,
planned this out?
no,
I just
but
assumed you had cereal just lying
Planted
around.
that cereal
I'm
box.
playing
You
that
knew we would
shit.
eventually get to this fucking question. Fuck you.
Jesus Christ.
By
That's
the way,
diabetes in a box.
I just assumed he always had it just lying around because everyone has whatever they need for a joke just within arm's reach on this fucking show.
cereal. No, but like I said, I'm a big lover of cereal, even though I'm lactose intolerant, but that doesn't matter. But I love fucking cereal, so I would love
he
to actually.
shits his pants a lot, ladies and
He
gentlemen.
loves fucking cereal.
Why do you have a 360?
are we talking about jokes and shit?
I got a
'Cause
joke later about my
yeah.
360. Be quiet.
Wait, what, you got fucking
Chaos
cooking oil
White.
next to you?
Are you doing an ad read right now, Jenny?
Oh, it's alcohol. That was cooking oil.
Chaos White, okay.
Hashtag ad.
So Jenny, you're white, apparently.
She's doing an ad read right now.
Yeah, shut up. It's local wine.
Man.
It's also a side note too, because I actually thought this was fake too, but apparently, like, I don't know why, but I want to like visit like these weird museums or whatever, because it's like this grocery store that like pretty much, I think it was like the first soda pop grocery store or whatever to sell soda pop. So it has like every single soda pop in America or one every invented, even like in their original bottles and shit like that. So I'm like curious to actually go there. And another one too, that like a weird museum is like, everything in this museum is like miniature. So they like have miniature cities, miniature like fucking airplanes, miniature trains and shit. And it's like this place in Germany called Miniature Wonderland. So I just want to go to like these weird ass museums and shit like that. So like that, I was just like, these exist? Somebody actually spent time to make this weird stuff that I like. But yeah, that's actually one of them. Cereal.
I'm sorry.
I can't top that.
Chat.
He posted a GIF talking about when you don't eat your unmasturbated cereal, and it's a picture of Ryan Gosling.
No, money.
I like touching my dick.
No.
It's like them trying to feed cereal to like these movie scenes. Have you not seen that Vine series? It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah,
No.
those are hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I could watch that shit all day, weirdly enough. But yo, one more thing to bring up, and this is gonna break Allie's heart because she's like fascinated with this whole concept.
Oh yeah. I
but
still don't think this is true. I really still don't think this is true. Because how can like an entire country not want to fuck each other?
Oh, I
Like,
can
like,
explain that
accidentally.
really easily.
Well, Anthony, the thing is, actually, no. The reason why is because all these babies are being lost through karate. Like the pregnant women are like, doing karate moves and whatnot.
Oh,
And-
Jesus.
What?
If you actually want a
Seriously,
real
dude.
explanation about this, there actually is a much more fucked up explanation to this.
What?
Oh,
Jiu-jitsu?
No, because what happens is, okay, so Japan is all about like they only have like it's one of those countries that has the one child rule, and this is a country that really focuses on male superiority and male in the workplace and men this, men that, men that. So people want to have male children. The problem is, after about however long they've been doing it, and mostly male children, nobody's fucking anymore. So they can't have birth rates if nobody's fucking because it's mostly dudes over there.
Damn.
I thought the reason was because like the men are being like like men like my age are like working so much. I mean that they fucking need a companion like that thing we saw a couple of months ago where it's like the anime like companion. Like they need that kind of companionship because they can't date because they don't have time.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah.
That's what
No, that's the thing. I think like that was the very reason why you get like these kind of fashion senses over there, like the whole Virgin Killer sweater craze that's going over there, because it's like literally companies are trying to get men to fuck the
Well,
women.
not only that, the women, they don't want to be stuck in that hierarchy system anymore where they get pregnant and have a bunch of kids and don't work. So now you have, on the opposite, the women are going to work and they don't look into relationships till much later in life where these men are being taught.
Are you saying Japanese women don't work and yet no one laughed at your shit and made fun of you?
No, this is statistics, bitch.
Man, fuck everybody in this
No.
call.
Dude, on the other side of the world, that's kind of how they treat their women.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
really
No
have the
one
women
said
work.
they were doing karate.
Exactly, they're busy.
kind of racist.
What are you saying, Allie?
It's not racist if it's
Well, first of all, the whole one-child thing, that's China. That's not Japan.
Oh, is it? I don't want to tell
Yeah,
me.
you can't tell the
China.
difference because their eyes.
Oh,
Man, you were just making whole racist jokes tonight, bro.
That's racist.
Just lost our whole Asian audience. All two
All
will
five of them.
one documentary that was. Go ahead, Alan. Go ahead.
No, but like, yeah, that's the thing is that, especially I feel that Japan, they tend to focus more about their career than like going out and meeting, someone to be a companion for them. That like they're taught from a young age, like you have to work, you have to, get a good job, you gotta, be successful, you have to do this and that. And then like by the time that like they want to settle down, they're kind of a little bit too old, like at that point, oh well, I guess I'll just be by myself then, or not really have anyone that's like I want to be in a real relationship with at that point. But also, yeah, like you said, females aren't seen as equals, and it's not terrible like some other places, but it's you can definitely see that there is it's definitely they're not on equal footing.
There's some inherent sexism still kind of.
Exactly. Yeah, there's still sexism. Women, like, they can work in like corporate positions, but you don't see it as much. Not nearly as much as over in more Western countries. So that's the deal as well. It's like, you know, especially when you don't have like, because I know like a lot of people do meet through their work, right? Like I would say that's a major factor in people meeting each other. So if all of you have working at these corporate positions are mainly men, like, well, how am I going to meet anyone?
Not only that, I think that some of the companies actually segregate their women employees from their men employees as well.
Too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think another thing that's a big thing. I'm not gonna say nothing racist. Stop. Stop.
You sure? I was getting ready. I had my helmet.
No, I wasn't. No, seriously. No, but like another big problem too in Japan is that all their private parts are censored. So like that's another thing you have to worry about.
7 seconds, guys. I counted it. Took him 7 seconds.
I was hoping he was gonna say something actually like meaningful.
Coherent?
No, and this just in the news too. I looked up in the news. Japan's subscription rate to Midnight Chat Tech is historic low.
I don't know how to answer that at all.
It's really like interesting though, because they were saying like, and I don't believe it's true, of course not, but they were saying like 2025 or whatever, that like the whole Japanese population will just like be like non-existent. So it's just kind of crazy if they continue to do like this. So I'm like hoping like, because it was like this documentary I was watching where they was talking about like the whole birth rate, stuff like that, and they had like interviewed some middle-aged Japanese women saying like, yeah, we want to meet guys and stuff like that. They was like in a bar or whatever, and I'm just like, 90s ganja, pack your bags, we about to go restart a population.
So well, I agree with 90s. Okay, let's just go to Japan.
Let's just go to Japan.
You know, Japanese be mad when like everyone starts.
They have no right to be mad. It's their fault.
Well, that's actually one of the main causes with the low birth rates. They refuse immigration, so they never have an influx of new crops of women or men coming into the society. So, they, you know, they have the strictest immigration out of all those Asian countries. So it's kind of they brought it upon themselves for wanting just a homogeneous society.
That's true.
You hit 90s in the chat. We out here, boys.
Dijon said, "Bring me with y'all."
No, but one thing to jump on what Ali said too about the whole like meeting people like, you know, at work and everything too. I don't know how their internet is over there, but like why don't they meet people like that? Because that's actually part of Jenny's question too. We'll get into that right now. But like, why do they do the whole social media thing? It's not just a segue.
Yeah.
Like it's a real question. Like I'm not just. But yeah, like, what do you feel about that? Like, is that a thing that they have in their culture quite a bit, like social media and like Tinder type shit, or?
Who can say for certain? I mean, has anyone been over to Japan?
I can't think.
I mean,
that's the thing. Everyone thinks they know about another country, and is okay. Don't try to talk now. I asked you, motherfucker. You didn't say shit.
No, I wasn't talking to.
I mean, there are some things statistics-wise you can say, but stuff like that. Like something like Tinder, I'm sure they have it over there. I don't know for certain how often people use it. You know, every culture is different. Like we can all have the same thing, but some people might use more of this than that. You know, so it's a factor.
I think people play with their Nintendo DSs over there a lot, and I think that's kind of a, you know, you can like pass by everyone else, another person, and play with them online and shit.
Every Nintendo product is discounted because it's from there. So, yeah.
Like from what I hear, like I don't know if it's true, like from just Japanese vlogs that I hear, but so like some people that touch down on Shanghai or whatever, apparently internet usage is very limited. So I don't even think they have access to YouTube at all. So they can't even subscribe to the MCA plug. But that's the thing. I don't even think it's really limited.
So that's why I can make a bunch of jokes
Shanghai is in China. Yeah, China they don't have YouTube, they don't have Twitter, they don't have Facebook.
China's more limited because of their government.
Hong Kong is fine because they're independent, or same thing with Taiwan. But yeah, like the main Chinese country, like Beijing, Shanghai, like they don't have YouTube like we do.
Yeah, and other than Japan, from what Eugene told me, because I actually asked him about this, about what is the dating scene like, you know, what it's like growing up out there. And from what he told me, there's not really much of a dating scene. Like they're not encouraged to go talk to the opposite sex like we are here in this country. We're like, go man, go talk to her. It's more of a solitary kind of society where they're focused on their own goals and trying to get those achieved. And romance is kind of secondary to them because that's what they're taught growing up. Like a lot of those people have been raised by the older generation after World War II who have just been taught to work hard to bring, you know, Japan back to glory. So that kind of resonates with them a little bit. So they're focused on their careers and getting, you know, their goals accomplished. Whereas Canadian, it's like if it happens, it happens. But, you know, most of them don't worry about it until they're in their 40s and 30s.
Exactly.
But, Anthony, it is time, sir. community question because too much karate. My head's spinning. So.
Thank you to Jenny Chaos Bulldog. She asked this. It says, do you think meeting someone you meet online makes them less of a friend than would you meet in person? And it's actually kind of funny because I actually going to bring it up on the show, but Cedric, I was going to bring him on so he could say it himself, but he had posted a comment to Jenny's community question, pretty much saying what I'm about to say. And I think it's really based on just the person themselves, because I will say this, I feel more connected to some of you guys more than actually like friends, quote unquote friends that I actually had in my real life. Some of you guys have actually done more for me than people in actual quote unquote real life. So, and like granted mentorless things and whatever, like, that's how you gauge or whatever of how you get connected to people, whatever. But I'm just saying that on the emotional level, I feel more connected to you guys. But I understand what people say when they mean that, because people still see the internet and life and social life as these two things that disconnect. And now with like this current time, they're no longer that far apart no more. Like back in the 90s, it was the internet and your life. Yeah. Now it's because, especially considering that we're connected to like digital devices all the fucking time, to the point where internet could become like a utility. Like almost in like almost every house, almost every hotel. So almost like the internet is becoming like we're becoming more digital creatures. So I believe our social lives online are a little bit more linked to our day-to-day lives and stuff like that. I mean, like we just said, we use Tinder to actually like go out on dates and stuff like that. So we use Facebook most of the time. So, but go ahead, Jenny.
Bring up the situation that I asked this question because this has been bugging me, because this is one of my friends who basically kind of brought up the question because he's being an asshole. But like one of my friends I play trivia with, he basically every time I talk about you guys, he kind of makes fun of me because it's like, oh, it's your online friends. And he seems to think that you guys are much less friends than, say, he and my other friend are that I play trivia with on a week-to-week basis that I've known since high school.
Asshole.
Thank you. I will caveat this. He's somebody who is like smart, but he's not really like people street smart. Does that make sense?
Douchebag.
I wouldn't say he was an asshole, because like that is like that's the funny thing about it. Like your friend technically is not wrong. Like he's looking at it from the old mentality, and like I said, it's both based on personal preference, because there's a lot of people like that. They feel like your online life is disconnected from your real life.
I actually was
old. He kind of thinks like in that older stack, because he's definitely seems like he's older, like maturity wise, than like say I am.
Oh, that's no excuse. So. No, that's no excuse, Jenny. Because when I first started hanging out with a lot of the chat members here, Ali, Rashad, you guys during the first wave of the chat room, when Salt was on, Sombra, and all the Eugene was more frequent. Back when the first people were coming on Skull, I remember you back then. I would hang out with you guys most of the time, even before the Midnight Chat Attack was around. Before show, after show, or during the shows. And I remember that I took off maybe about 2 weeks. I was hanging out in Boulder with my aunt. And I remember you guys were looking for me. And, for a little while, I felt uneven about that because, I used to believe that myself, that internet friends are internet friends and real friends are the real friends. But I remember having a conversation with my mother, who's about, in her mid-40s. And I was talking to her, I have these guys that I hang out with every time, the show's on or after the show. We get personal, we talk friendly, we're all really close friends. And she goes, well, if you feel like they're your friends, then you're your friends. Just because it's behind a computer screen don't make them any less human.
Yeah, exactly. You're still human beings. It's not like you guys are like fucking AI. Yeah. so it's kind of like funny too, because when I went to Austin, especially going to like that Double Toasted second year anniversary party, it kind of like broke that glass ceiling. It was kind of like a surreal experience of just like, holy shit, all these real people that I've talked to and known that I could have never met in my day-to-day life, but like this internet thing, this amazing thing that we call the internet, I'm connected to all you guys, and it allowed me to go to events so you can get connected to my quote-unquote real life.
Well, that's the whole point of the Midnight Chat Attack, Anthony, right? Yeah. Was to bring everybody together so when they come to these events, you know everybody already. So it's no insecurities anymore. You just run up to people, hey, Johnny, I haven't seen you since the last Midnight Chat Attack. Big hugs. And that's what community should be. Like, I want this. That's why I like Anthony's mission. It should be better than Spilled that we actually all know each other at these events.
Exactly. It seemed like, Marcus, you wanted to say something about this.
Oh, no, I have a unique take on this story, and Ganja actually has something to do with this. I've been part of an online Facebook group for people that go to festivals, to raves. And some of these people I've only met in person like once or twice, but I consider them like really close friends, almost as family. And so it's taught me that family are just people like don't just have to be people that you just meet daily. It can be like people like you guys or people that I know on Facebook. So this whole dynamism of what it means to be a friend is really changing. It's something that's impacted my life personally.
Yeah. No, true. Yeah, it's like I said, it's based, and like I said, Jenny, your friend is not personally wrong for being an ass or whatever. It's just different takes on it too. Like I can't jump on them for thinking that too.
No, I call him an asshole all the time. Kind of is. So.
No, because like some people in our community actually believe that they believe, you know, it's a difference between online friends and stuff like that, between, you know, actual real friends in real life. And some people think we do like, yeah, you can just see in different perspectives, but some people think we doing this is kind of like our cop out for not going out in the real world. Not saying that we didn't try, but it's just like, you know, like it's different perspectives on that stuff like that too. So, but like with our generation, I think like I said, our digital lives are becoming more intertwined with our social lives. So like this type of stuff is going to become more common. It's just going to become more common. I mean, like, considering like everybody wants to be a YouTube star and shit like that. It's just all of these type of jobs, profession is becoming more integrated with the digital life now. So,
see, I like to respond to what Skull said. He said to me, it's not the same. Real friends are people that you know personally. All my friends are strangers you know through the internet. See, that's the thing, Skull. Like, I've met a lot of people through the internet that I've gotten to know more personally than people I hung out with as children.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, I guess because there's a glass there, people are more open with their personal lives than they are when you were just hanging out at a local bar. So that's something that you need to look at a little bit more. Like, maybe you probably have a best friend right on the Double Toast community that you got to be opening up more to.
Yeah, to jump on what Ganja said, like, me, when I was growing up, I had, you know, childhood friends, people that we just hung out with because we were all, you know, part of the same culture, and knew them for 10 plus years. And I barely know them more than I know a lot of you guys that I've only known for a year, and we hang out through the internet. I'm in Canada, for fuck's sake, and I know some of you people better than people that know down the street, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's just that day and age, man. It's just that day and age now where we just live in that type of world. But, and you know, I think it's actually pretty beautiful. Like, I really think it's beautiful, especially what we have. And that's why I say I try not to take this for granted, because what we have is really fucking important. Because even with the internet, most communities can be fucking toxic as shit. Yep. So, and not saying we don't do our own fair share of shit talking sometimes that I disagree or, you know, agree with or whatever, but what we have is fucking rare, and I'm just glad that all of you guys cherish it as such.
I almost thought you were gonna say this shit. What we have is fucking weird. Like, it's not like you're about to say that, dude.
No, I think I'll leave that to you.
That makes sense, I guess.
It does. Different perspectives.
It's beautiful what we have here. It's because of, you know, the space we have here. I actually got to meet Ganja last year, so he's the first host I ever met.
And I hope I didn't disappoint.
What about food?
Wait, I don't know what you said though.
Jenny will be the second.
I don't know. I think it's the cat's white wine getting to me now.
I think it's more like your internet's going robotic than the wine.
Internet's getting drunk.
Leave the call and come back out.
Okay.
The call and come back out. Yeah.
Marcus Kilgore, are you coming to the anniversary party this year?
Oh yeah, I already purchased tickets.
Good.
No way! Awesome!
I'll be there.
Yay! We now get to meet each other again.
I'm actually gonna be hanging out with I'm gonna be with my family in San Antonio that week before. Then I'm gonna go see you guys.
Awesome.
Nice.
Now, and actually, it's kind of funny because this is let me see. Oh, I'm trying to fucking do the thing here.
Come on.
I actually clicked the wrong thing. My bad. But no. So here's the thing. When Jenny was bringing up what she was bringing up, she's probably talking about how, you know, maybe that dude thinks that we're strangers because she never seen us, and it's kind of like goes into the same thing too. And this is from Marcus Kilgore. So thank you very much for the question, dude. And we're about to go into this. Anthony, read the shit, son.
Yeah. What's a time in your life when a total stranger helped you out in a time of need? And since Marcus Kilgore, Miss Marcus Combo Breaker, since this is your community question, please go ahead.
I expect to be put on the spot. Okay, I actually, through a total stranger, he helped me get the job that I have now. So I ran into him, you know, on a light rail on a particular, you know, depressing day. And he told me about this college, and I decided why not? I should go apply. He actually took me to the college, you know, had me talk to a couple of people. And after going through interviews, I have the job I have now thanks to that stranger. So thanks to that person, I'm the highest I've ever paid. You know, life is good just because I randomly saw the stranger, and he kind of helped me out at a time I really needed it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's actually really badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good story or whatever. I actually go, and then after me, Rashad, I hope you got a story because you're going to go after me. But it's not one that actually happened to me, but one that my mom always brings up, and it kind of goes into the whole thing where she believes in, you know, God, higher power, stuff like that. And it's a beautiful story, but it was around the time when she moved to Virginia, and she was actually going to college and stuff like that because my father at the time was actually based. He was in the Marines, so he was like always gone. So she pretty much had to raise me by herself, single mom. I think she was working at a daycare at the time, and times were low, times were tough. And she said like some guy was actually trying to persuade her to actually have sex with him, and she was going to give him money, and she really did not want to do that. So I think she said some like elderly guy kind of just like walked up to her and just said, "God will truly bless you," and she had the guy had put something in her hand and she had closed it really tight, and then when she had looked in her hand to actually see the money, it was like $100 bill, like a crisp $100 bill, and she was just like, and then when she looked back up to thank the man, she said he was just gone. And she said she always tells me that story because it just really had touched her. She's just like,
but he was just
holy
gone.
shit.
Like, did you press like down up R2?
Like that's what she said. Like I don't know. Like that's always how she explains the story to me. So hey, it's like I said, take it how you will. So, but it always kind of touches me. But Rashad, go ahead if you have one.
Honestly, I've been thinking, and I don't. Like, I'm mostly the type of person that would go out their way to help someone rather than someone that honestly receives help. For majority of my life, I used to be that guy that I felt like people were taking advantage of me just because I was sometimes hand out too much help. I've kind of cleared that up like later in my later years because fuck that shit, I'm not being taken advantage of. But it's like I've never, I honestly can't recall a time like someone has like reached out to me without doing something they've never done it out of kindness or without being in their job or like doing it begrudgingly. Like I've never honestly had that. Like I've always been the person to reach out.
Well, reverse the question then. What is the time where you helped a random stranger then?
The last time I helped a random stranger.
Damn, what are you, a guardian angel?
Yeah, I might as well be. Might as well fucking be, man. Like the last time was I can most recently think of is like back when I was working at this like college bookstore. This lady had lost all of her financial aid. Like she had like $5,000 of money to use like towards her books and all that shit. But she basically losing your ID card is basically like losing all that money. Moment she lost that, she lost all her money. Got her ID back, found out she lost all the money. So basically, it was me spending a month helping this lady out, walking her back through the process of proving that she had everything stolen. And because she was an elderly woman she wasn't elderly. She was like in her 50s, 60s trying to go back to school. And that's kind of tough for anybody to go back to school at that age. And it's especially like a technical advanced world, you trying to come back and do something in a world where you weren't so technically advanced, and it's just like really hard for them to get a grasp on it. So she would always come and visit me every day. Like, I need to fill this out, I need to email this, I need to fax this. So it was like me doing that for an entire month, helping her out, and luckily she finally got that fixed up. And I still see her because I still go back and visit the college to this day. And she's still up there taking classes. I think she's going for like her master's now, but she still remembers me.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish I was that caliber
Very cool.
person.
Nick, not just be who you are, sweetie. It's like, what about you, Ganja? Like a random stranger helped you out or something?
Actually, my random stranger helped me out is the only reason I'm still around. I think when I was the age of 2 or 3, I went with my bitch of an aunt to the beach one day, and she was kind of aunt that I was never really on good terms for, and she didn't really care for me as a kid. So, I was kind of always up to my own devices when I went with her places. And I remember at this one, I was like maybe 4 or 5, and they were all on this platoon boat, and they were all going out to the ocean. It was her and my 2 cousins and my little sister at the time. They were all going deep out into the ocean, and I wanted to go with them. But as I was running out there, nobody noticed that I was running out there to meet them. So I'm swimming out to deeper and deeper ocean, and I wasn't really a good swimmer at the time because I was still, still kind of a baby just a toddler. So I'm starting to get into the deep blue area of the ocean, and they're like so far at me. I'm screaming. They're not even paying attention to me. And as I'm starting to go under, I'm starting to breathe in more water, and it's starting to burn. I'm essentially drowning, man. Like I went underwater. I remember just feeling this real deep burning sensation in the back of my throat. And I remember breathing one last time, and all the water came rushing, and I passed out. And I woke up, and it was this like 40-year-old Cuban dude. And I only know he was Cuban because he had that deep accent that you only hear from Miami. And he was like, "Hey, mijo, so glad you woke up, man. You had a gallon of water in your throat, man. Hey, breathe, man, breathe." And he has me tilted and stuff. He's patting my back. And now my aunt's being the worried one, coming, oh, what happened? My cousins are all scared and shit. And he's like, no, he went out there. I saw him drown. And I rushed out and I got his ass. I came to CPR and, I pat his back, got the water out, and I was fine after that. So the only reason I'm alive now is because a stranger looked out for me better than my own family did.
And that dude named him Ganja Guru.
I wish.
Damn, that's a fucked up story. You sure you don't want to get costume and start becoming, be a superhero?
I thought about it, but I want to pass the drug test for the Justice League.
Okay, the Justice League does not have a drug test.
Guru begins.
I actually have a story that's pretty pathetic though. One time, I went to my first, job at a Safeway's grocery store. Hopefully, some of you guys know what the fuck that is. There was a girl that I really liked. We went to the register together. I was like, "Hey, I'll buy that for her." She had this big ass expensive Starbucks cup or whatever, and they got me a little 99-cent thing of goldfish because I love goldfish. Well, the thing is, I didn't process how long it would take to get my check into my checking account. So the shit was only like $2.50 or something. I went to go buy it, and the shit was like you got no fucking money. And, it's just, $2. So she looked at me like, what the fuck? And that dude looked at me, the cash register. He's like, yo, man, just take it, bro.
Damn.
Broke-ass motherfucker.
Luckily, it led to a little relationship going on. But if it wasn't for him saying, go ahead, man, get out of here, I would have been the dude who couldn't afford a goldfish in a Starbucks cup.
Oh, man, we've all been there.
Yeah. Hey, at least you had the money.
Hey, I got something a little bit more embarrassing than that. So,
Shit.
This was a year ago before I kind of did a little bit of working out. And I used to work out with my brother, but then after a while, I was like, oh, I'll just go myself. So I was kind of just doing, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's kind of the bar and you're on your back and you're going up and down. And I didn't have a spot, so I was just doing it myself. Nothing too heavy, but I guess I was just doing too many and I couldn't pull the thing all the way up. So I was really, really struggling. Trying to pull up the bar to get on there. Luckily, just some guy comes out of nowhere and says, "Hey, I got you, man." Pulls it right back up. I kind of walk away embarrassed, but I would have been in a lot of trouble if some random shit come out of nowhere.
More embarrassed if you died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn.
I
yeah,
kind of walked away. I'm like, oh man, that's embarrassing.
Ooh, I just thought of one too. A situation. It was at this park in Cleveland, and I don't even know if you guys have it where y'all are, but it's this water park called Dover Lake, and pretty much it's like it's like these water slides or whatever, and you go on these those, what are those circle things called, the little tubes or whatever, like the little flotation devices or whatever that you sit on.
Like a lazy river.
Oh, yeah, like one of those, and yeah, you pretty much slide down the water and stuff like that. And one of it actually had tipped over, and the water, for some reason, I don't even know how they designed it, but all the water was pretty shallow everywhere else. If you fell over, you can actually get right back up. But in this one particular area, the water was really, really deep for some reason. So it fell over, and I was actually really bad at swimming. So I'm just I probably could have literally drowned right there. But it was two guys actually had pulled me out of the water and actually had made sure I was back on the flotation device or whatever. So yeah, that was one situation. I just remembered too, because I was just yeah, I forgot about that one. So yeah, there's good people out there. Really good people out there.
There are.
See, this is why Anthony
nice.
has the mindset that he has. There's such great people out there. He's just so happy, and
There are
one day
good people out there.
he'll find some bad people, and then everything will change. It'll be great. But hey, this is gonna be our last question. We go in bed.
We go bed. We go bed.
No, this is from Rashad actually, and I'm glad because Rashad hasn't sent us stuff in a while, man. Fucking you show up more stuff.
Yeah, I've been tied down.
Rashad.
Oh, you've been tied down.
with some chick.
Yeah.
He's like,
The man is busy.
Yeah, they ain't a chick with kids. It's keep you busy.
Oh, so you did it! Wait,
hold on.
no, fuck the
Roll it back.
Fuck the
I
question.
submitted that question weeks ago. Damn it!
No, wait, Rashad, you actually went for it.
Yeah. So
how
yeah,
you
we've been. It's going okay so far. It's I feel like a stepdad. Hey, can you mind coming buying they hanging out with you? You mind ducking by real quick? All right. I was planning on going to bed, but okay.
See, but it's fun though, right? Do you like the kids though? Is everything cool?
Yeah, I like them. They're good kids, and so far it's fun. But we'll see. I'm trying to keep myself at a distance, but just because things don't work. Not just in case things don't work out between me and her. I don't have that sort of attachment. I won't feel any sort of regret for leaving.
Exactly, yeah. No, that's smart, but I'm glad that you did it, man.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, in your face, Gandhi took my advice, bitch.
I'll get one boy. I'll get somebody one day. Somebody.
No, you don't. I
We
hope
won't
you
hear the
don't.
story because he'll be in jail, Ganja. Okay, we won't be able to fucking hear it.
Well, when they get out of jail, we'll hear the story on the fifth season or sixth season of Midnight Chat.
Okay, because I actually heard Nick say in hell. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not that bad, Alan. Fuck you, damn.
Are
really?
we killing people?
That's amazing. No, but Rashad's question though. Rashad's question.
Yes,
He says if you
Rashad's
could create a horror movie icon, who would they be and what the special characteristics would be? And I want to go first, actually.
Go ahead.
I would create a horror movie villain who dates a girl that has kids, and then he's a stepdad.
That's an entire genre of movie, man.
And then you get married.
And he tells Nick Diaz he's right, and then the world ends.
And then the title of the movie, Child Support.
There's a movie called Stepdad. That's the entire premise of the movie.
No, honestly, I'm just gonna be cheap, man. I want Jeepers Creepers, but like in dreams. Like I want take what Freddy is, take what Jeepers Creepers is, put that shit together. I have an orgasm. I mean that's great. Yeah.
Anything like and damn, this is gonna sound pedophilic, but for some reason, I really like the horror icons, like the girl from Fear. Or just like those creepy little girls, like in Resident Evil. You're all going to die down here. Like I don't know why I always like that
horror movie icons.
Children as horror movie because it's just like, especially with Resident Evil 7, the recent one that came out. Spoilers. For people that haven't played the game, spoilers. Okay, get the fuck out. But yeah, at the very end of the game, you find out that the actual main antagonist is this fucking little girl that's pretty much controlling everybody. So I'm just like, that is, I don't know why that, like, it's the most innocent thing. Like in this world is children, like little girl, little boy. That's the most, like, that is the pinnacle of innocence. When you make that corrupt, I don't know why that seems cool to me because it's just like, holy shit. Like, I mean, even Call of Duty Black Ops, the fucking like main antagonist is Samantha, like a little girl.
See,
Like
I was about to say that, dude. I'm
Yeah.
sick. I'm so sick of that being the case. Even the rain, the rain scares me the first one, but it's like, dude, I can't keep getting scared of the same fucking little girl. Same thing with fucking Grudge. You know, it's all little girls and little boys. Like, you know, whoa, I'm creepy.
Yeah, but that's,
Like,
is that because of the movies or the idea of it?
The idea of it. I mean, well, Anthony, you were talking finish.
No, that's not. I like the ideal of it because, like I said, like the pinnacle of innocence is children, and when you take that and corrupt it to the point where even a kid like that's like just dark, full of dark magic or whatever, and they don't give a fuck. Like in some animes and shit like that, you see like a little girl with telekinesis just rip a kid's head off, or like in Wolverine, that little girl just cutting fucking grown-ups and shit like that. I don't know why that's cool to me, but I'm just like, holy shit. So it's kind of like that world reversal thing. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that's what I like.
I mean, it's different. I'll give you that. But I mean, how about you, Alan? Like, I know you like horror movies and whatnot, or at least to an extent, you know. And...
See, the thing that's always kind of like, whenever you see horror movies, like I never understood why any horror movie doesn't just kill the dude straight up. Like, why do ghosts feel the need to scare people? But for me, it's like if I were to create something for this, I would make it so that
because it's really fun.
Yeah, but yeah. To me, I would want to do something where it's like it's because on their own they're not as threatening until they catch you off guard. Like I'm playing Prey right now, and that game is fucking terrifying because the enemies can be anything from a fucking your phone to just the garbage can beside you.
Yeah,
I want to do something similar where it's like either it's always in the shadow or you can't see it until it's too late, that thing. So you don't know where it is. Like you can be in a room that's lit and it's hiding like right behind something, and that could kill you. Like everything is an enemy, you know.
I mean, the only thing that makes me feel kind of like creeped out is the idea of like you can kill something like Jeepers Creepers. The scariest part for me is the fact that you just don't know what the fuck it is. It's just black. It's just like, and if you look exactly. Close, it could be a demon, it could be a guy, it could be a devil. I don't know.
No,
I just like the idea of not knowing. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's scarier than actually.
Yeah.
That's the very reason why I love The Thing. Like the concept of The Thing is fucking cool to me because it can literally take the form of anything, and then when you finally find out, it's already too late. So I'm just like, holy shit!
Or the first Insidious movie, like that's all shadow tricks and camera angles, and you don't know what it is till the fucking end of the movie.
And I got creeped out when I was a kid from a Liquid Terminator, and the same thing for Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat. Where you get shut up.
Sorry, man. Every time I think of Shang Tsung, fight just this old guy.
No, because it's cool. It's like he looks old and everything, but like you don't know really how old he is because he can change into shit. You know, he could be like, "Oh, mom," and you go hug her, and then it's that fucking thing. You know, it's like, "Oh shit." So yeah, and then like Liquid Terminator gets to change his voice too. Like act like he's John Connor's mom. Like, hey honey, come home.
That scene in Terminator 2 where she's on the phone. Where are you? And then the camera like,
what's your dog?
He gets off the phone and then looks like the camera pans to her, and she just like has. Like that, he has that fucking like long ass metal limb, and it's like going into like the milk carton in the dude's head, and he's just pinned up onto like the refrigerator. I'm like, holy shit! So that's
a good thing.
Yeah.
God, dude, I want to watch. I'm watching a movie tonight. I don't give a fuck, dude.
Let's watch some Terminator 2. Terminator 2,
man. But how about you, Kilgore?
I don't really have an answer, so I'll pass.
Okay, cool. Jenny, how about you?
I got nothing. I'm not a big horror fan, guys. Sorry.
Alley girl.
I got nothing.
What scares you the
I'm
most?
very creative when it comes to like creating my own.
Hey, Milo.
Like,
Nick, what was the question again?
If you would have had sex with one man in the whole world, who would it be?
This is a multiple choice question.
No, Milo in the chat said he was like, if he was a ghost, he'd be really seductive and ruin happy families. So that's like a really good horror icon. Yeah,
yeah. And just to remind y'all really quick that we were answering is if you could create a horror icon, who would they be, and what would the special characteristics be? And yeah, like I said, man, like I hate to say it, but like I'm just stealing shit off of the things. So.
No, what about you, Rashad? Like the person that came up with the question, Rashad, what you think?
Yeah, like the question kind of stemmed from like I just saw Alien Covenant. I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but like they kind of like made me like come up like, if I were to create my own, like what kind of like would it be? I would most likely have a technology-based horror icon, like he can travel through computers, through the web and such, and like he's able to, like I kind of had. There's this one, I can't remember the name of this film, maybe one of you all can, where somebody like their cell phone would ring and basically like that's how the ghost would like get to them.
Like One Last Call?
One Last Call, yes. It would be almost exactly like that, but a lot more widespread. Instead of just like going after one person, it could go after anyone.
Nice.
And I hate the idea. Like one thing that I really like too is and I know Friday the 13th came out today, so it's kind of cool too. But I would love something where it's just like random people just getting together and just like one by one, someone dying somewhere. You know what I mean? And like it would be cool if they do something like how the Jeepers Creepers song would come on, and just like how Rashad's saying about like the cell phone rings, like some kind of indicator, like oh shit, he's here. You know what I mean?
I love that shit. I love that shit.
Could I actually throw out an idea I've always had for a horror movie?
Cool. Go ahead.
So one of my things about horror movies that always kind of bothers me, they're always trapped in some sort of house and they can't get out for yada whatever reason. I want a situation where like let's say a couple's trapped in a house or something and ghosts are attacking, and they're like, well, if these ghosts exist, what other bullshit from lore exists? So they run to the bathroom and try to summon Bloody Mary and then get a Ouija board and try to summon other ghosts to just get them to do a battle royale where they get the fuck out.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, like Eddie, like dude, I don't know about you, man, but like I want that to be that whole like fucking that death movie coming out with Robert Englund, Kane Hodder, and everybody. Oh shit, everyone's falling out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
kind of reminds me of Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
that was really good.
I would love
another one that I just came up with, and JP will actually like this because he actually got me into the whole creepypasta characters and stuff like that, like the whole Slender Man. Like Slender Man, I always thought it was a really cool villain. I just don't know what he would do in terms of a horror icon. But it was this little known one that nobody really knows about. That's a creepy icon that I would love to see her get her own movie or something like that. But her name is Clockwork, and pretty much her whole gimmick is like around time. She's almost kind of like Calendar Man from Batman. But she's a female that pretty much like makes all of these like time like puns or whatever. And I think like I always thought it'd be actually kind of cool that her gimmick, because she's kind of like underdeveloped and she has like her own fan fictions, but my like version of the character Clockwork, she would actually kill people at specific times of almost like in a sense like maybe like Freddy, like every time like she would probably die at a specific time, and she would kill somebody at that exact same time that she died. Everybody, she would like say she died she would be like a ghost or some kind of spirit. She died at like 9:45. She always kills somebody at 9:45 or different time zones or something like that. So I always thought that would be cool. I don't know why, but like some of my favorite and this is weird, but some of my favorite serial killers, they always have really interesting MOs, like Jack the Ripper or Ted Bundy. They have like their own style of killing. Because I'm always in the camp, like if you're gonna do wrong right or creative, I guess. So it's just like have your own style on it or something. Make it different. Be creative.
Fuck up, do it spectacularly.
Do it spectacularly.
No, it's like even Jason, like, dude, he has territories. I mean, like, he's like a gangster. You know what I mean? Like, Jason's like, yo, like, this is Grove Street, right? You can't put some links. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, that makes Freddy versus Jason like just a fucking turf war.
Yeah, exactly. Like across the street is Elm Street. You know, Freddy's like, man, fuck you. And then Jason's like, fuck you too.
It's Grove Street, bitch.
So there's gonna be horror movie icons, and it's gonna be a story where they're just traveling to different like corners of the world where different horror movie people have like cut out their territory.
No, what they should do is they should make a movie where someone goes to Haddonfield, Illinois, grabs fucking Michael Myers, goes to fucking Camp Crystal Lake, takes Jason, put them all in a taxi cab, and then has them fight somewhere.
No, not even that.
Texas
Just
is
menial
Leatherface.
stuff like play chess, answer quiz show questions, like menial stuff. I think that'd be hilarious.
No, Jordan and stuff for some reason say he have his horror icon be like a milkman. I guess from the 50s or something.
He said in the 1920s.
1920s or something. I don't know. Like, hey, you want some milk? It's a murder. It's like,
No,
I don't know.
that'd be great now because people think it's a novelty. They're like, oh, someone brought me milk. That's nice. You know, people would eat that up, man.
Like, if that happened now, like, who the fuck left this milk on my doorstep?
You look at it and go, milk's expensive.
It's not milk.
Another thing I would put on my villain is that I hate Paranormal Activity simply because it's a horror villain. It's a horror movie thing that you can't fight. I hate horror villains that you can't like go up against. Like that's why I never got into games like Outlast and stuff like that because you can't fight against what you're going up against. But things like Dead Space, like actual things that you can fight and take down and make bleed, I can go up against that. And actually see it. Yeah, if it bleeds. So yeah, I would much rather something that like a villain that is like also intact, like not something they can like just pass through walls and basically it's fucking immortal.
Yeah.
Now also like really like you. I'm glad that you brought up the Necromorphs. I think that's what they called them in Dead Space.
Necromorphs. Yeah, Necromorphs is something completely different.
I like how Anthony's calling like a Negromorph. Like, I don't know what the hell you're saying.
You just make that racist, but I love those creatures that you actually got to break down. Like you got to actually like really like kill them to make sure that they're fucking dead and gone. Like dismantle them completely, or just like a little part of them can just kill you. Like the Thing. Like you have to literally like decimate that shit, like almost burn it, because if you get like a little piece of it just survives, it's still not dead. You got to kill it all the way. So I love that shit too.
I like Whiskey Wolf's horror movie icon. It'd be a tech horror monster called the Browser, and it puts your browsing history on Facebook.
Oh, that'd be scary as fuck.
It'd be like that short film that we just saw, Alan, take the lollipop, that interactive Facebook.
Oh, that weird bullshit. Yeah.
I like how everyone's so sick of the damn. They're just like, not this Neko shit again. Fucking Anthony and his Nekos. But no, man. But like, just like what Rashad said too, man. I like vulnerability in my villain too, and I would love it. Like that one character on Dead Space where you keep shooting him and he'll die. You know, all his pieces will fall off, but they'll all come back together again.
Oh, the Regenerator.
Yeah, I love that idea. Yeah, the Regenerator from Resident Evil 4 too, like that fucking thing.
Oh wait, is it Resident Evil or Dead
That's
Space?
Resident Evil 4. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Man,
no, Dead
sorry,
Space
those games
had
are the same game sometimes.
No, Dead Space had like a regenerator too, like near
It
the end.
did. I know it. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, no, they copy each other, which is cool. It's no big deal. But yeah, but you know what, dude? It's time. I want to go watch Terminator 2 now. I'm fucking hyped for this shit. So I'm gonna go. We could fucking.
But before we actually leave, Alan, tell them one more time what we're actually doing in the MCA After Hours.
We are doing For an Action movie night. We are starting off at the Ray Redemption. Then we are moving on to what everyone ended up voting for the second time. I'm just gonna quickly check because.
Yeah, like check.
Oh wow, yeah, I'm really glad for that. Xiao Pao Lang 2, or Killzone 2. So yeah, that's the order of the movie. We're gonna start with the Raid Redemption, then Killzone 2, and then Ip Man. So we're gonna post a link in the chat once we set everything up. But everyone.
Not only that, guys. Remember the rules.
Killzone movie?
Every other week. Yeah, we're gonna do. I think it's Killzone, but it's not the video game. I got disappointed too.
I got disappointed too.
Like usual, guys, keep the rules. You know, keep it down. You know, it's subtitles, so this one you could go a little bit more off on the talking. Just keep mind of your neighbors, and keep the jokes and the conversation till about what's going on the screen and about the history of whatever we're watching. Just don't go too deep into it because it's not about a Wikipedia page. I don't want to see how smart you are. It's not a trivia question. Not only that, guys, for those of you in YouTube right now, I will be posting a link as always every Saturday when we do this inside the comment section. Just wait for it to pop up when it's done processing. You'll see the rabbit link inside of the YouTube comment section.
Oh, and tune in next week where we talk about the next horror icon, white privilege.
Cool.
No, but
Fuck you.
That's not like such a newscaster type voice. Like, tune in next time for white privilege.
No, Allie, why Hey, Allie, why don't you take a crack at it? Why don't you take a crack at it? What don't you do? Like, give us like a news report story of white privilege. It's horror.
And this week in white privilege.
Justin Zarian strikes again.
Oh, how rude!
Was Jenny her accomplice? No.
White chaos.
White chaos.
Midnight Channel.
How could you say that about me? How rude, Nick. How rude.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Come on, guys. That's enough. That's enough. All right.
Wait. She's Greek, okay? She's Greek.
No, you're gay.
No, we love you, Justin. Love you, Justin. Yeah, people, with that being said, or say it with me on 3. 1, 2, 3.
White chaos.
We're black as fuck.